What's up, man?
Welcome back, everyone. Episode 107. I got to change it here on my in my notes. 107 of the Jiu-Jitsu Dummies podcast. We are brought to you by Black Belt Digital Marketing. Anything you need to build your business on or offline, website design, Google Ads, graphic design, printing, we can absolutely help. Check us out at Black Belt Digital Marketing on IG or our website, bbdigitalmarketing.com. You can request a free review of your entire online presence today. I am Milton Campus. I don't have to look at my notes for that part.
You are.
I'm a brown belt training out of South Florida.
Yeah, how's it going? That's
Miguel.
Yeah.
Riding shotgun.
That's right. Training out of Weston, Florida.
Out of Weston, Florida.
That's right. At Henzo's.
Both behind the camera.
What's cooking?
Say hello to the people.
Not training yet.
Oh, people.
There's a podcast that does that. Say hello to the peoples. Hi, peoples.
Hello, people.
Don't forget to like, comment, share, and click that subscribe button. We'd really appreciate the support. Oh, wait. I'm sorry.
Smash that like button.
Yeah. Right now, we said it's like now it's a subscribe button.
Can we start a
It
new
automatically
one?
clicks the bell for you, and you can like unclick it or like change what it's going to do. But now it's all like back to subscribe.
Yeah.
And you get the notification. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, you know how people say smash that like button?
Yeah.
We should say like obliterate or something.
By the way,
Destroy that like button.
I watched
Annihilate. That's a good one.
Justin, one of my training partners, Justin.
Uh-huh.
He sent me the link to Mr. Beast.
Yeah.
On Lex Freeman's podcast.
Yeah.
So I watched that. Did you see that?
I've seen everything Mr. Beast has done.
Did you watch him on Lex Freeman's?
Everything includes that.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, Jesus. You said everything he's done. That's Lex is done.
That's
okay.
he's done.
Right.
He was there.
All right.
Fucking smart.
I wasn't even going to go there. So I hadn't really, and I started watching that. It interests me because Justin was like, "Oh, there's some cool stuff about like podcasts and marketing." And then I know you've been telling me to watch him, so I was like, okay, this all comes together. And while I'm watching it, I'm on my phone, like pulling up. I had it on my TV in the living room, and then I'm pulling up videos.
Bro, you know what this feels like right now?
What's that?
This feels like I'm your wife, and I've been telling you some shit, and then you bring me something.
I watched
from your boy.
it, but I wouldn't have watched it.
Yeah, but your boy told you, and then you did. He sent you a link.
I watched it. Because he mentioned, and when he said Mr. Beast, I'm like, oh, Miguel told me about that guy. I have to listen. Do you know how many people tell me to watch a podcast or send me a link to stuff?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, to the Jiu-Jitsu Dummy stuff, like I get it all the time, so I can't watch everything.
Bet. For sure.
But it's when he said it, I was like, oh, Miguel told me about Mr. Beast, and I'm gonna listen to this podcast because of Miguel.
I'm your BJJ.
Not just because of Justin. Thank you, Justin.
BFF. All right.
So it was really cool. I'm understanding who he is. Jesus, the stuff that he's talking about, like spending hundreds of thousands of dollars just to get like developed. No, just
you're talking
to develop the thumbnail that goes on the YouTube video.
He usually does 3 or 4, and then they choose from them. And if they don't behave well, then they put another one up. They change it.
Yeah, no, it's I was amazed to understand. I was amazed to see some of the videos, and then amazed to see him talk about what goes into them. And in that podcast,
he talks about like his personal life, like his relationship, and he has that girlfriend and how hyper motivated she is, and how they read when they're on vacation together. Just like this dude's on another level.
Like kind of like always learning.
Another level.
That's I'm gonna.
He's like the David Goggins of YouTube.
Yeah.
He doesn't sleep. That's all he does. Reinvest everything back into that.
Is he the number one?
Number one.
Number one.
There's nobody better.
Yeah. Number one,
everything
in earnings in dollars. He's making like food now, and
no, he's been a philanthropist.
Like he's got like they did like a pop-up burger joint, and now they're actual burger joints.
Yeah, you could order them on Uber Eats. He delivers the packages to like McDonald's and Burger Kings and stuff like that. You go and order a Beast Burger right now and deliver it here because he gives his stuff to restaurants. They have the components to make the Beast Burger, and they give it to you in his packaging.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it was like
an FPL.
I thought it was like
you go to Walmart. He has a couple of his standalone restaurants. I think he has a quesadilla spot or something like that.
Okay.
And then, but he's also like, he has a food bank in North Carolina.
Your kids are super into him too, right?
I'm into the guy. Yeah. The dude's like, he's extremely smart, and he's like giving you insight, and he seems like a genuinely good guy.
I'm giving away T-shirts and coffee mugs, and he's giving away islands.
$10,000.
He gave away an island.
Yeah, right? That was for the 1 millionth episode. Watch the episode. It's great.
Yeah.
And the way they give the
1
island
millionth episode or like 1 millionth subscriber or something?
Yeah, subscriber. Yeah,
subscriber. Like you, if you were the millionth
100
subscriber,
millionth subscriber.
that's fucking crazy.
No, he chose anywhere from
100 millionth.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Because he's in the 100 millions of subscribers. And I think what he did is he chose anybody who was a subscriber. They just randomly picked whichever number subscriber you were. They just picked names.
Oh, wow. All right.
Yeah.
So let's talk about some jiu-jitsu. Joining us today is black belt. Well, hey, we got to fly. Black belt and striking wizard Charlie Vinch. He's going to be joining us in just a little bit. A few quick shout-outs. Thank you to Flow and Roll. Sean, you're awesome. We appreciate you.
What up, Sean? I wonder if he knows
what's up
when I say that.
Yeah, he listens. He listens.
No, where it's from. It's from when I say "What up, Sean," is from an album that I listened to.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say like Friday
Logic.
or something. What up, Sean?
Well, it could work for that too. Yeah, it's more Logic.
Let me instead of just reading what I normally read, let me just say that number one, appreciate all the support.
Yep.
Incredible gear.
Yep.
I now have like my 3 favorite rash guards are the leg locker.
Mm-hmm.
Couple of his other, flow and roll stuff. We're going to be getting the Peace Love Jiu-Jitsu soon. We're closing out that. We've closed out that pre-order, but incredible gear. And what I'd really like to say, you can go on the site and you can buy cool stuff. That's great. The pre-order program is where I really like to focus because I think there are a lot of gyms out there that think that they can't afford gear or afford good gear, and they're still just going overseas. These random. I don't know if you get them now. Like the random, like, hey, do you need gear for your gym? And it's like from Pakistan and from India. Like, Sean has done the research. He's, taken the hits. He's got incredible gear, high quality. Designs are awesome. I wash and dry that stuff. It doesn't shrink. It doesn't get ruined.
Doesn't get the fuzzies.
You don't get the fuzzies, but you also don't get like sometimes you get
where the rip meshes apart. Like
I was gonna say the Velcro. Like the Velcro doesn't work anymore.
Okay.
Or the Velcro with the plastic side of the Velcro like scratches the other parts of the shorts and it gets all ruined and faded. Never. I have all of my no-gi and shorts and tops. I have everything that he's ever given us, and most of them still look like brand new. Like you couldn't tell if you put up a brand new one, maybe you could tell. But I mean, like I pull them up and
they're high quality. They look good.
The gear is incredible, and I always say, don't believe us. Go online. I challenge any gym owner. Go online, look at his stuff. He posts pictures of all the gyms that he works with and all the gis. You can ask any one of those clients what they think about the gear.
Yeah, man.
And I don't think I've never heard anybody say anything bad about any of his gear. And it's great when I watch events and like phone roll, or I see somebody post a video that he doesn't even know is out, and I'm like, I tag him like, flow roll, and then I repost it. But not only has he given us a lot of support, again, his stuff is awesome. But check him out for his pre-order program. You're a new gym owner, or you've had your gym for 10 years. You can order from him, little money out of pocket. He'll get your stuff directly to your students and give you the equipment that you need, the kits that you need for your gym so that you have stuff in stock. And very little out of pocket. Talk to him about what that program does. I don't want to get into all the ins and outs of it, but he can explain it better than anybody. It is a great way to get your gear for your gym. And then you've got really cool gear that actually like professional, high-level guys are wearing on the mats.
True that, yeah.
So go check them out at flow_and_roll on IG. You can visit the website, flowandroll.com. You can also email at flowandroll@gmail.com. So if you just want to reach out.
Toss them a DM.
And then if you order anything on the website, you get 20% off with code JJD. So we definitely recommend that you check out his stuff. The belts, gis, patches, keychains. He's always down here at the New Breeds in Coral Springs.
You can buy cool jiu-jitsu dummy mugs if you want to.
No, not
the mugs. No, it's the shirt.
He says the shirt, just the shirts.
Shirt. Yeah, that's right.
We have our shirts, our podcast shirt on his site. Thank you to the BJJ box. Thank you, Tony, for all your support as well. The BJJ box is Jiu-Jitsu's favorite monthly subscription box, delivered to your door, filled with premium Jiu-Jitsu and grappling apparel, equipment, supplements, supplies, snacks, and more. They find the best products in the world of Jiu-Jitsu and guarantee that every box will be worth more than the actual cost. Okay? Each box includes 4 to 7 items you're going to love. Use code JJD10 for $10 off your first order. I have a meeting with him tomorrow, actually. We set up a meeting. This will air before that or after that. But we have a meeting tomorrow. Hopefully get a new box in the mail pretty soon. We're just going to catch up. Love talking to him just about business. He's there. We love bouncing ideas off of each other and like things that we've been through and stuff like that. Just talk about our experiences. It's good to like talk to another jiu-jitsu business owner. So that's really he's really cool. Shout out to Neutral Zone. Got him. Got that bug. I'll put him in the mug.
That's right.
I'm done. And we'll flush him later. Put him down the sink.
This is not an animal-friendly episode.
Got him.
A fly was hurt during the production of this.
Shout out to NutriZone CBD. No matter if your aches and pains are coming from lifting weights at the gym, rolling on the mats, or just the daily grind of life, NutriZone has a product for you. Find your NutriZone by finding the best products for your pain wellness so you can continue your active lifestyle. Check them out at NutrilZoneCBD.com and get 25% off with code
JJD.
There you go.
That's right.
That's all I have for today. We're ready to rock and roll.
Let's get this guy
Let's
on
do
here.
this.
Yeah.
Ready, Bo?
All right.
All right, let's get Charlie in here, man.
Always ready.
Let's do this.
Hey.
All right, welcome, Charlie. How you doing?
Good. How about yourself?
We're doing good, man. We're doing good. Thank you for doing this. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. Let's dive in. I mean, there's a lot to talk about. We can go all over the place here. Let's give everybody a quick background. Let's tell everybody you are a jiu-jitsu black belt, but you've also trained in multiple disciplines. Let's get your resume.
So, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt under the infamous Migliarese brothers from Philadelphia.
Infamous, huh? They're infamous?
They're infamous. I think they are. I mean, these are some of the OGs from the East Coast.
Yeah.
You know, Steve
Very
Maxwell was Dirty Dozen, and these are some of the first guys to ever train with Steve Maxwell. Yeah, so Steve Maxwell is from Philadelphia. He's one of the first 12 people ever to receive a black belt in America.
All right.
And he was the guy that brought jiu-jitsu to Philadelphia before Henzo was in New York.
Really?
We're going back. Yeah, we're going back 40 years, maybe even more. Guys used to travel from Connecticut and Virginia to Philadelphia to train with Steve Maxwell.
I didn't think there was any jiu-jitsu around before I found it. I thought I found it. Like, hey, everybody, look at this. Jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, you were there.
And I did Jeet Kune Do like 20 years ago. I did Kali, I did Silat, I did shoot wrestling, I did some gi jiu-jitsu, and then I did some no gi jiu-jitsu and some wrestling.
Jeez.
Got it in.
I don't know if my body could take all that.
Sounds like fun to me.
I would have been like in for like a year.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, right. That's over the span of how long? I mean, are you chaining all these disciplines at the same time, or did you go from one, find another, carry over? You know, your boxing into kickboxing and wrestling into MMA.
So the first guy I trained with, his name is Rick Tucci. I think he goes by Guru Rick Tucci. And I want to say, I think this dude was totally ahead of his time when it comes to mixing martial arts into being what we would call now mixed martial arts.
Yeah.
So I'm almost 40. I started training with him when I was 13 or 14. So that was a very long time ago.
Yeah.
And that long ago, 20 plus years ago, this guy was already a blue belt 25 years ago under one of the Machados. I think it was Hegan. He was an instructor under Eric Paulson. He was a Muay Thai practitioner under Arjun Chai, who was the guy that brought Muay Thai to America. And then he was also under Dan Inosanto, who was Bruce Lee's first disciple, or one of his first instructors. So
and actually, like in some of his movies too, wasn't he also? Would he be like a coordinator on the set, or did he actually like also appear in some of the movies? Inosanto.
He did appear, right. I believe it was in Enter the Dragon.
Okay.
On one of the floors, Dan was, I forget which guy he was. Obviously, he wasn't Hakeem Abdul-Jabbar. He wasn't him, but he was another guy.
And he wasn't Chuck Norris.
It's not Chuck Norris.
Yeah.
No, he was the dude. I think he had like size, or he had like sticks or something. But
so
yeah,
your professor was at that level? That was your professor? Your first one?
That was my first ever martial arts instructor, Rick Tucci, who studied under Dan Inosanto directly in California back in like the 70s or the 80s or whatever it was.
Side note.
So
my favorite video right now, one of my favorite videos is the Chuck Norris Bruce Lee scene
when they change the music.
And they change the music and they put on some like romantic music and they're taking off their geese.
It changes the scene for sure. Yeah.
Go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
Had to get it in.
That's okay. I really enjoy that kind of stuff too, man.
What I see is like I don't even know the songs, but it's hilarious.
So I forgot how like not appropriate for children some of these movies were. And I was at home with my kids and I was like, y'all gotta watch this Bruce Lee movie real quick. And I turn it on and it's like 10 minutes in and they're in like some opium den or something. And I'm just like,
I was like inappropriate.
Yeah, we're gonna watch something else.
They won't know what that is yet.
And you know what? It didn't dawn on me until afterwards. I think what's it called? I think Eddie Bravo has a similar story where he was showing his son Enter the Dragon. And he forgot about like the whole prostitution part.
Daddy, what's a prostitute?
Exactly, you get that. And
all right, like, let's get back on track. Go ahead, Charlie. Sorry about that.
Listen, I got kids.
Yeah.
I can totally relate. And whatever they hear at home, they say at school. So be careful.
Same.
I was watching Bruce Lee and prostitutes last night.
Yo, and my kids get up, and it wasn't like when we got up in the morning. We're about the same age. I'm 38, right? When I got up in the morning, it was what was on in the morning, like cartoon. Like I didn't have Netflix. One day, we wake up, my wife and I or whatever, and we're on Netflix, and we start looking down. It's like recently watched Jaws 1, 2, and 3, and we're like,
the kids were.
my son watched all 3.
Really?
Yeah, and he like I quizzed him. He wasn't lying. And he loves them.
Yeah,
he's like, buy me a Jaws shirt.
Let's go ahead, Charlie, again. I'm sorry. We'll get back on track.
No, all good. I enjoy it. I have kids. I totally understand.
Yeah.
So Rick was, again, I think he was really ahead of his time because the thing he would tell us when I first signed up there 25 years ago, however long it was, is he said, you need to use no way as a way. You can't be one discipline and think that it's going to work. You should be well-rounded immediately. And, I didn't know any better. You know, imagine you're 14 years old and you're walking into a martial arts place 25 years ago. I'm thinking it's karate because I'm watching Karate Kid and all these other. I don't even know what jiu-jitsu is. I have no idea. I have no idea what, as my mom would call it, Muay Thai. She thought it was Muay Thai. It was like, it wasn't Muay Thai. It was Muay Thai.
Makes sense.
So, you know, I didn't know what Muay Thai or I didn't know what any of this stuff. So I was like, all right, this is a curriculum. So he had a curriculum where it was, you know, each day was 3 different martial arts. And if you were signed up, I guess it was 2 or 3 days a week that you could come, you could do all the different martial arts. And being a kid that my mom couldn't bring me there 5 days a week, I would go 2 days a week or whatever it was. And I would stay for a 3-hour block or a 2-hour block and do all of the martial arts. So I was technically practicing all of the martial arts at a young age.
Okay.
You know,
all
right
so
away.
Okay. So I asked before. I'm thinking that they're like you're training back to back, but you're actually doing them at the same
Got it
time.
all in.
That's very cool.
I mean,
huh?
traditional jiu-jitsu schools right now are like that. Like my school has gi, no gi, and then we practice no gi with strikes. There's a striking class. Yeah. There's a wrestling class. You know, so it's like you're getting.
I just think that's the way that it's going to be going forward.
Yeah. That's fighting, man.
Yeah, it's MMA. I mean, you gotta all these arguments online right now. Who's this guy Tate? The guy that's locked up.
He's arrested.
Tate. What's his name?
Andrew Tate.
Andrew Tate.
Sorry.
Andrew Tate.
Yeah, it is Andrew Tate.
Yeah. Andrew Tate.
Andy.
You know when he shit all over jiu-jitsu recently.
Jiu-jitsu's not going to walk on the ground.
Yeah. Well, it's not going to work in a street fight.
Yeah.
But you know what? I guess there's always going to be that argument. But part of the argument is like you hear somebody trains jiu-jitsu. A lot of people are also training other things. You know, when you say like my first school had an MMA class, it just meant we were putting our striking together with our jiu-jitsu. That was the MMA class. So we had mostly jiu-jitsu, gi and no-gi jiu-jitsu. 2 days a week we did Muay Thai. The second hour was MMA, which meant we were now going to, we had our smaller gloves on, grappling
and you had
gloves,
Muay Thai.
And we would kickbox and do Muay Thai, and we took it to the ground. Our sparring, we went to the ground, and we continued with our jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
I love that. I don't have that in my school now. I'm in a like all jiu-jitsu school, But I do miss that a little bit. At the same time, at 50, I'm not so interested in being knocked in the head, by guys half my age or even younger. So I had a lot of fun. I learned a lot. That was my start. But I think that is the way that it's got to be. Right? You own a gym. You're a gym owner, and that's the way you're doing it, right? You're teaching everything, correct?
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about your gym.
Do.
Tell everybody where it is and tell us about it.
Sure. So my gym is in Ewing, New Jersey, and I have a little bit of everything at my gym, but we predominantly focus on grappling and striking. But we do mix it up. We do what's called like Street Week. Rick calls it Street Week.
Street Week.
And we incorporate the MMA gloves into an MMA, combatives class, right? Gracie Jiu-Jitsu one-on-one combatives class.
Yeah.
And we do it all. So
I'm going to tell you, you might need to trademark that, because that's a pretty smart, like, catchy name to be
Street Week?
like have a Street Week curriculum and then like help other schools with it. We don't air for a week. Get on that.
Do you guys follow Rick on Instagram?
Rick Paulson?
His name's Ricardo Migliarese. His name is the Animal Migliarese.
Let me say,
follow him on
I
Instagram.
probably do.
Guys, check him out. He has amazing content, and he posts all about Street Week and all kinds of stuff all of the time.
What'd you say, Ricardo?
Put Animal.
Animal.
Animal Migliarese.
The name, the last name sounds. Yeah. He popped right up. Oh, I know what he's the one that's always filming in the street. I see him like he's like he'll come across some bouncers. I don't know how it gets set up, but he'll be like talking to bouncers or something and show them how to like do stuff right on the sidewalks. Is that New York City?
That's in Philadelphia.
Oh, Philadelphia. Okay, yeah. I probably always just see Animal Black Belt.
Yeah, that's. What
I probably never even saw his name, to be honest, until now. But
I've only seen his reels, but I don't follow him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna follow him right now. That's dope.
So tell me about him. How
so
he relates.
He
to
does a ton of Street Week.
Yeah.
He does a lot of incorporation of MMA. Like all the stuff that you do in your jiu-jitsu class. How's it going to apply now to like if you get in a real fight?
Yeah.
So he'll put us in different situations. Like he'll put you up against the wall. He'll put you in a headlock, and then like you have to get out. And
that wall,
basically like an MMA class.
Yeah.
Yeah. The wall changes it.
Like
we have a padded wall.
I like that. I think that you should understand the type of gym that you're in, right? Some gyms are sport jiu-jitsu, and you're teaching sport jiu-jitsu like Nick Salas, right?
Yeah.
And Danny Freestyle.
Yeah.
They talk about it. They're very honest.
They're in Jersey too.
We are a sport jiu-jitsu academy. If you're coming in here because you got attacked and you want to learn how to, protect yourself while you walk into your car at the mall, like we're not the right place for you. Like his example was like, we're starting on our backs today. Like we're going to start with like whatever Z-guard or whatever. And he said, we're not the right place for you. I'd rather tell you now than you start and then go, yeah, this isn't for me. I don't think that everybody's that honest about jiu-jitsu. And then some people that don't do both or more sport jiu-jitsu will be like, no, but look, then this is how you use it. But if you don't put somebody into that real life scenario, you never really, your mind has to wrap yourself around it. Yeah, you might, like your instincts might kick in when you're in a certain position, but I think that you need to work those positions, standing, getting attacked, being pushed against the wall. And you guys use the wall at your gym, right?
We're allowed to.
Yeah.
It's encouraged.
Yeah, I think that's smart for somebody that's looking, again, are you looking for sport jiu-jitsu? Are you looking to, be a champ and do certain things and you want to make money doing this? Are you doing it for yourself, self-defense? Or are you doing it for like me, I'm doing it for the camaraderie, the exercise, the stress relief, everybody's different. But I think that a lot of people don't understand that when they first come in and then they're like, well, this might not be the right place for me. And then they start jumping around trying to find the right place. But sometimes it takes a few months at least in an academy to understand. Oh, wait a minute.
The culture, the culture of the gym.
There's other. I should be at that place because I want to be a fighter. Or so you don't do fighting. Okay, yeah. Maybe I should go to another place. So, but you're doing all those things. I've heard you talk about your gym. Tell everybody the type of gym that out of what I just said there. Tell us about the type of gym and your students and what you're training.
That's a great question. And to elaborate on what you said before. that we are in such a unique time in martial arts where, you know, like Danny and his gym, and I know Danny, I knew Danny before he even trained jiu-jitsu.
Oh yeah.
We used to train at the same gym together, NPR Endurance. I used to be the Muay Thai instructor there, and he was like a wipeout. He was just starting out. But I think we're such in a unique time right now in martial arts where you can be so niched out and still do well in business because there's so much attention on jiu-jitsu or martial arts in general that everybody now can just pick and choose. Like, do you want to do just sport gi jiu-jitsu? Well, there's probably a place for it. Like, do you want to do just strictly self-defense? There's probably a place for it. Do you want to be more of like in a hobbyist kind of place? There's probably a place for it. So we're really in a unique time right now that people don't have to go to one gym and go, well, now I just got to make it work here, unless you live in the middle of nowhere, you know? So I think we're in a really cool time right now. In my gym, the things that we concentrate on, or the things that our avatar is, or the people who we mainly cater to are people who are like above 30 that want to come in and they get a good sweat in, are hobbyists. We don't train people for ADCC. I've sent people away from my place to go train at other places who wanted to be ADCC champions, or people who wanted to be the next, you know, top level MMA fighter, you know, locally. I can help them in the beginning because they don't know anything. I can build their base really good. But once they reach a certain point, they'll need to head out. And then also kids. We focus on kids. That is a huge part of our member base. So hobbyists and kids. And then we'll do 2 tournaments per year where everybody does them. And, you know, it's something that we do competitively. It's not like we don't actively try to win. Like, we really put our heart and soul into it for our kids and our adults. But it's not something that we solely concentrate on.
Yeah, gotcha. You know, there's one other. We've been talking about this a lot. We've had a lot of police officers on. My dad was a cop, so I love talking about it. There's that side. There's jiu-jitsu for restraining. You know, you're somebody that you're trying to arrest, getting the handcuffs on. I love watching that style. I mean, that's a whole nother world of, you know, essentially doing jiu-jitsu with a resisting opponent, or, you know, perp. I'm not a cop, so I hate using those terms like I was a cop or something. But you're trying to arrest somebody, and it's not about breaking an arm, you know, choking them out. It's I got to get his arms behind. I got to subdue him, get his arms behind his back, get him to calm down, and then put the cuffs on him. You know, I essentially kind of maybe have to give up a little bit of my control. Like, I'm such a, like, you know, smash a guy, hold him down, like, you know, beat the air out of him a little bit, right? And like they get frustrated. Mm-hmm. Well, now that cop's got to, like, now take his hands away from the neck, away from a position, and now get the cuffs on them, maybe by himself. And like Jiu-Jitsu 5.0 does, you know, he does lots of videos where he's showing you how to use jiu-jitsu with a partner, you know, against somebody you're trying to get the handcuffs on. Which I mean, that's like a whole nother side of jiu-jitsu. Is that could you just have a kind of cops only jiu-jitsu? No, but I think a lot of schools could have those classes. A lot of schools would have a lot of cops these days.
They're already training.
Yeah, with people just, you know, shouting from the rooftops like the Gracies about, you know, jiu-jitsu for police officers. I think there's that whole other element that's a class that can bring in, you know, even more students. And I guess, you know, some gyms will do like, okay, free for first responders, things like that. But there's a whole nother like level to this jiu-jitsu that we're not even thinking about as hobbyists or practitioners or, you know, people that want to do tournaments. There's that side. There's that. It's a whole different jiu-jitsu. So I love watching the Jiu-Jitsu 5.0 stuff. It's just like, oh shit, I didn't even think about like, oh, I'd be there, do that. I watched somebody lock up like somebody's arms with his legs from the back the other day. I'm like, I wouldn't have even thought about that. Yeah. I could just submit somebody from there, and he's gonna hold his arm so that he can get his cuffs out and like cuff him. I mean, it's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah, obviously, we love jiu-jitsu. So I love that other side. That there's this whole other piece that even all of us who talk about all this stuff don't even realize. There's this whole other thing going on over here.
You're missing out on literally the best jiu-jitsu that is out right now that I love. Car jiu-jitsu.
Oh, man.
I love it.
That is wild.
I love it. Yo, I've seen it from the beginning.
That's not what I thought you were going to say.
I've seen it from the beginning, and there's strategy now. Like, these guys are getting good. So, like, now the first move, because, you know, you start like this. Yeah. The first move is to block your seatbelt so they can't you block their seatbelt. Yeah. and then you unbuckle yourself, like because they both start with the thing. So
Yeah.
the move is like who beats the other person to the seatbelt.
I saw one the other day where it's like it looks like getting to the back of the car is the move.
Yeah.
So that if you do that what
because
you
then
said,
you can
but
choke.
get to the back of the car.
But that's
and
the
then
first fight.
Get to the back seat. So now that you've got the seat between you and you're trying to choke them over the
Dude,
seat.
the
Like,
one that
take their back, but literally from the back of the seat.
Best sub I saw was guy blocks his seatbelt. Guy freaks out, goes to do hand fighting with the seatbelt. With the other hand, he reaches over, grabs his seatbelt, loosens it,
And-
wraps it around his neck, and chokes him. I was like, get out. That was premeditated.
I thought he was going to say combat jiu-jitsu.
No.
He went a whole nother
Car.
freaking route.
Thank you to Feito IT and AV, specializing in commercial and residential automation, security cameras, CCTV, POS, and more. Check them out at feitoitav.com or call 305-428-2515 and let them know the dummy sent you. Thank you to Neutral Zone CBD, a combat family-owned company that supports athletes and the people who love them. Neutral Zone strives to deliver clean CBD products for sports recovery in gummies, lotions, balms, roll-ons, and more. After a competition, a hard rolling session, or a tough day on the job, Neutral Zone has a product designed to help you reduce inflammation, increase cell rejuvenation, and may even help with aging joints. Visit NeutralZoneCBD.com and get 25% off your order with code JJD. And follow them on Instagram too, at MyNeutralZone. Jiu-Jitsu's favorite monthly subscription box has now joined the Jiu-Jitsu Dummies podcast. The BJJ box is delivered to your door filled with premium jiu-jitsu and grappling apparel, equipment, supplements, supplies, snacks, and more. The crew at the BJJ box find the best in the world of jiu-jitsu and guarantee every box to be worth more than the cost. Each box includes 4 to 7 items you're going to love. Visit thebjjbox.com and use code JJD10 to get $10 off your very first box. And give them a follow on Instagram at TheBJJBox. Special thank you to the crew over at Flow and Roll for all their support. Flow and Roll is renowned for their incredible no-gi rash guards, shorts, and leggings. Flow and Roll has quickly become the premier custom apparel provider for academies big and small throughout the United States. Reach out today to discuss your custom order and ask about their incredible pre-order program. You can send an email to flowandroll@gmail.com or visit their Instagram at flow_n_roll and shoot them a direct message. And yes, they can create an awesome custom gi for your academy as well. Visit flowandroll.com to check out their awesome designs, and while you're there, pick up a Jiu-Jitsu Dummy signature tee exclusively at flowandroll.com. And remember, you'll get 20% off your purchase of t-shirts, rash guards, or gis with code JJD.
So in this world, I mean, obviously it served you well. Let's assume you're building a gym, doing it that way. What do you say to some of these gyms that no, you got to compete to get a belt, because they're out there? I think there's fewer and fewer because more people are embracing the hobbyist. But for gyms that, hey, you've got to compete if you want to get a belt promotion, or you just got to compete. This is a competition gym. What do you think about like those setups? Do you have an
Open
opinion?
up a can of worms here. No. I'll answer.
You're welcome.
For sure. Of course.
Let's
These
get some highlight reels going here. Come on.
These are interesting topics that I think everybody wants to know about. I don't think there's one answer that everybody's going to like, but I'll give you my opinion. So as far as, if you go to a place and you have to compete in order to get a belt, I think that is so dependent on the person. So like, let's say for instance, I'm 50 or I'm my age, whatever. I'm an older person. I'm not 20 years old.
Hey, 50's not
Maybe
old.
I have a couple.
50's not old. What are you trying? What's going on?
It's not.
All right, so you're older than 20. Okay,
there you go.
Got
Okay.
kids.
I'll take it.
You're not in the best of shape. You've never done kind of.
I feel personally attacked here, Charlie. I'm just kidding. Go ahead, man. I'm sorry. I won't interrupt you again.
You've done none of those things, and now you go to this jiu-jitsu place, and this instructor, you like barely make it through the warm-ups, and you're like, this is like the hardest thing I ever did in my life, but I'm having fun. And he goes, in order to get your next belt, you got to compete. And you might be thinking, wait, hold on. That's not what I signed up for. I don't even know if I have confidence in myself yet to let you want me to compete. So I think that competition should always be something that you choose yourself and that your instructor should never force you to do. And I learned that from Phil. Phil told me that Helson Gracie, who is his instructor, told him, you know, don't ever compete for me. Do it for you.
Yeah.
Don't ever compete for me. Do it for you. And Phil and Rick are like that too. Don't ever compete for us. Do it for you. So I think a more of an open discussion on it of like having a gym, if competition is your thing, you know, you could do it like, hey, we encourage competition, but you don't have to do it, but know that we'll get you ready for it. And in order to get a belt here, we're grading it on competition. And it goes back to the original thing that I said. We're in such a unique market now that people could just be like, well, I don't want to go there. I could go somewhere else.
Yeah.
I think that the person who's running the gym, it's their choice. And if they want to make it like that, cool. And if you don't, I don't think there's anything wrong with it either, because the arguments that we have in the jiu-jitsu community of, you know, you have to compete, or sport jiu-jitsu works in street fights, or it doesn't work, or a lot of these arguments are from people who are in their 20s. It's not from guys in their 60s. It's not from guys in their 50s. It's not from guys who have, you know, went through the gauntlets of Brazilian jiu-jitsu their whole life. It's usually young guys who are in shape, who are massively athletic, who think that they can get on a podium and tell the 10-year-old how they should run their life, and the 50-year-old and the 6-year-old how they should do their life, and they should be living just like they are. It's hard or go home.
Yeah.
I think that's unfair.
I think that I wish, and I think we're getting there. So I like when a gym's a little bit more open about the style, like we said about like Nick and Danny. Like they're honest about this is the type of jiu-jitsu you're getting here. And I think that because more people know, I think it's better for a gym to be a little bit more honest about that, right? If
100%.
you're open about it. Again, look, I own a business, and I turn clients away. I'll be like, yeah, we're not the right fit for you. We're not going to be able to accomplish what you want. You're going to pay me for 2 months, and then you're going to cancel, and you're going to blame me. I already know that I can't get you to what you're looking for. I can do this. I can do this for you, but I can't. You know, I might not be able to meet these expectations, which a lot of time are unrealistic. So I'm able to walk away and say, we're not the right place for you. But I could recommend a place, or, you know, this is what I think that you should do, and if you want to follow that, I could do that for you. But a lot of times, I think gyms are just like they want the $100 or $200 a month, and it's just like, let me bring them in, even if it's only for a few months.
I mean, Craig Jones is letting people in the B team.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter. You could just go there now.
Yeah, right. He says, don't ask to come.
Not that.
Don't message me to come train.
Yeah, just come train. And then he also has like he's posted stuff about just like, hey, the 6 o'clock class is for people that do this.
Yeah.
He's like 5 o'clock class. They want to get away from their wives. Those are
See, I mean, like that honesty, I think is
but
good.
he was saying his real schedule. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just making it. He was just being himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I said, man, there's gym culture now. I think that's what's happening. It's refined, and anytime anything gets this refined, you're gonna have extremists on both ends.
Yeah.
You're gonna have like the one where it's like my favorite, jiu-jitsu cardio.
Yeah.
And then you have the one that's like Pohada every day.
Yeah.
Oh, you left your arm out? I'm gonna tweak your elbow.
Yeah.
They rip Kimuras.
I mean, like, I know even in my gym, I mean, we're hearing it online, and I'm hearing it in my own gym. You know, the whole like, don't win. You know, you're not here to win practice, right?
There's a place for you.
We happen to have there's always a place. We happen to have right now. We have a lot of big guys, big white belts, guys that are probably over 30, overweight. They're there to get in shape, but then they roll really, really hard. You know, they think that they have to roll hard. We don't do the whole like wait 3 months before you roll. I take it upon myself. If anybody, these guys know, if they listen, they know that I do this. Especially if I see them rolling hard or getting reprimanded, like, hey, you got to calm down a little bit. I'd be like, hey, let's work on something. Hey, like, let's work on guard. Like I call Jiu-Jitsu 101. I'll be like, hey, let's work on this. Let's, pass my guard, or let's do the move of the day that we just did. Let's practice that. At least let's start there. So we're not, you're not fighting to try to take me down. I'm not trying to defend, and you're a big dude, and one of us is going to get hurt because you don't know how to handle yourself yet. Who did I think I was telling my coach the other day, because we were joking around. Two different people during the week called me gentle. I'm 240. They called me gentle, and I was just like, "Did you hear that, coach?" Like, they called me gentle because he's always messing with me about, like being too hard on like some of those guys. And I'm like, it takes just as much effort for me to not put all my weight on somebody. Like, I've gotten good at being able to manage my weight so that I don't crush somebody, or if I'm rolling with a female, like, I'm spending just as much time trying not to hurt them as I am defending or trying to advance. So not that I've perfected that, but I don't think that people realize again, brown belt, I've been doing this almost 9 years. I know that I have to do that, but I was always like that. I was like, kill, right up to purple belt. Like, oh, new trial guy. Oh, this guy. Yeah. They would always give him to me, especially if they were bigger. My coach would be like, look what I got you on Amazon Prime. Here, take this 300-pounder. And here again, like, I got to be like, if I just let them do what they would normally do, they're going to freaking try to smash me. And, sometimes this wrestler comes in, he heard about this jiu-jitsu thing, right? And he knows how to take you down, and he's rough and he can pass.
Good base.
But then he doesn't know what to do, and I'm like telling that guy, I'm like, look, okay, get into my guard. And they're like, what? I kind of know what I'm doing. No, you don't really know what you're doing, and one of us is going to get hurt. So I watch Keenan Cornelius has been putting out videos lately. I don't know have you guys seen them about things that I guess annoy him.
Yeah, stuff that annoys him.
That other coaches do, like giving speeches at the end of classes and things like that.
I saw that.
And I think he talked a little bit about like rolling, like people that roll right away, or he was talking about something. And I agree with some of the stuff that he's saying. Well, the last one that I saw was like, don't coach. If you're not the coach, don't coach. And he's doing it, and I was like, motherfucker, I'm always coaching.
Ask you a question.
But then he like a few minutes into the video, he goes, unless you're a brown belt and you've been there for a while, I'm like, okay, good, right? So yeah, he's not talking about me, but I'll go out of my way. I told the guy the other night, he's newer. Coach reprimanded him, just like I said. And he's just like, dude, you got to calm down a little bit. You're going to hurt somebody. He even showed, he's like, did you see that position you were in? If you had your leg to the side and you got kind of like you got bent over, what do they call that? Like you get
bent back.
You get pushed back, right? He's like, if your leg was here, you were lucky. He pushed you over and you were fighting really hard. He goes, if your leg would have been sticking out, that was it. You're done. That leg would have popped. That knee would have popped. And then the next roll was with me, and I'm like, dude, he was like walked over. He's just like, oh, I just got in trouble. I'm like, let's work on a couple of things. Let's work on some of that. Let's figure out some of these things that you don't know how to do. And I find that fun. It's good for me. I'm not trying to win ADCC. I'm not going to be in the next tournament. So that's just as much fun to me as going there and rolling. I love to teach. But Keenan Cornelius was talking about that, and I wasn't agreeing. I was getting annoyed, and then he goes, oh, well, if you're unless you're a brown belt and you've been there for a while, and I'm like, okay, then all right, then I'm not doing something bad. But I like that part of it, and I think that those guys need that. I think it's our responsibility to remember that it's okay to help somebody, especially if they're new. If you've been there for a while, it's not necessarily coaching, but hey, tell a guy, hey, listen, why don't we work on this, or start here, so that you're not trying to take me down and one of us is going to pop a knee. I don't know. It's I think that some coaches, like, again, if you were following Keenan Cornelius's advice, it's like, just shut up and do it. But when there's a bigger class, sometimes a guy needs some help, especially for schools like mine, who white belts are rolling pretty early. They're there for a couple of classes and they're rolling. How long does somebody have to wait to roll, to train jiu-jitsu and roll?
So I used to be, I've flipped back and forth on this a lot. So I've had my school for 6 years. I have a partner now. One of my students actually bought into my school. I'm going to be opening up another one.
Cool.
So this is going to be his thing.
Congrats.
So this will be my second school. And I've went back and forth on this a lot. So in the beginning, when I first started out at my schools, it was, you roll second day. And then I noticed retention issues were definitely affecting that. So then I kind of went the Gracie university route. I was like, all right, we're going to wait, a couple months or whatever it is. And then I also noticed that some people were kind of getting impatient that probably could have rolled earlier than not. And, the retention was kind of better, but not as where I wanted it to be.
Mm-hmm.
So then I came up with this plan that I do now, which is it's subjective to who the individual it is, right? Like, how much grappling experience do you have? Do you have any grappling experience? And, honestly, I'm gauging it on like, what did this person do like earlier in their life? Did they sit at a desk for 20 years? Or did they play football in college and they're like an athlete? And they could probably roll a little bit earlier and not have the ego thing that somebody who's never done any kind of sport before have. And I kind of do it on a case-by-case basis. So to simplify it, I would say 2 months or so, depending on the individual.
Yeah.
If it's somebody who's never, ever, ever done martial arts whatsoever, and maybe they're doing this for self-defense and they're, a fragile flower, that's the last person I want to stick underneath and have somebody mount them and then freak out and never come back to jiu-jitsu, because nobody wins there.
Yeah.
This person didn't learn self-defense. They think that this is how class always is. They probably got mentally scared and they'll never come back.
Yeah.
And nobody wins.
You lose
the
training
business
partners.
doesn't win.
Yeah. I think
Nobody wins.
I think that some coaches think, especially younger coaches, because they know how much they love to roll and they go to school, they love open mats, and they're like, oh, we just roll. No instruction today, just get on the mat and roll. Or instruction's over, like, okay, guys, grab a partner. And they remember that and they forget, like, yeah, that white belt, they think that new guy has that hunger to roll like they did. Or like they did when they were maybe in for a few months or a blue belt to start to advance. I think that the thought is I might lose them if I don't let them roll, but I don't think so. I think it's like, I think sometimes they're like, whew, thank God, I need to learn a little bit before I do this. I've rolled with guys that are like, yeah, I don't really, if I'm in my school and I start to roll with somebody and I'm like, I've never seen this guy before, or maybe I've seen him but I haven't rolled with him yet, I go, how long have you been training? Oh, just a couple of weeks. I'm like, how many times have you rolled? Yes, I rolled for the first time yesterday. I'm like, all right, Jiu-Jitsu 101. Hey, let's work on a couple of things. Because I'm like, it used to be fun for me to smash that guy because, just that was my mentality. I lost that around purple belt. But now, I'm just going to smash. I'm going to smash you. Let's work on something. And I feel like they're so appreciative of that.
I got my 2 cents on this, man. I like that approach a lot because I think we say the same things all the time. I feel like I see like the repetition in how people behave at certain stages in their jiu-jitsu career. Like, I'm observant. Like, I'm not a brown belt or anything like that, but like, I'm a 38-year-old guy that trains and loves jiu-jitsu, so I pay attention. And anytime that you want to get better at anything, you look at the people who are better. So like, I'm paying attention, right? And I noticed that dynamic approach with people works really well because I feel like those are stages. Like, everybody was spazzy, even if they wrestled or even if they were in the NFL or a hockey player or whatever.
When you're out for a couple of weeks, right? Like, if you're out for a couple of weeks and you come back and you feel spazzy, you're like, shit, man, I'm not rolling like I know.
You have to like, it's almost like I feel like a good instructor is like a good parent. They when they're acting like a kid and they need to get reprimanded, they do. If you're seeing that they're trying to grow, you see the good things that they're doing, they're not just being spazzy, then you treat them differently. And then you slowly, and then I think everybody goes through that phase. So I think trying to hinder a white belt from being, I think that's a bad thing.
Yeah.
I think you should just, obviously don't, if you see that they're a big mismatch or something like that, and you know that kid's like a bull in a china shop, then I say you let it get it out. And you let them just eat that humble pie. Just don't let them roll with the accountant, or not because those guys are deadly as fuck too. With like the person who doesn't like to roll hard. You put them with the enforcer, with the animal, and you let them learn by brute force.
Like Brendan McCaffrey said,
way.
I love to submit that guy gently. Right? He said that on the show.
Yeah, I get it.
He's like, I want to submit that guy, but I want to submit him gently. I want to show him that I'm still going to submit. You're going to go crazy, and I'm going to submit you. And I'm not going to put a lot of effort into it. And I do like that approach. I think you can have somebody get smashed and then they learn. But
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with
Hammers-
talking to somebody about like, hey,
hammers
look,
wanna
you
bang.
gotta calm down.
Yeah.
You gotta bring it down a level. Nobody's looking to kill
everybody
you
does.
here.
Everybody
if
does
you
that.
hurt me or break me, you have one less training
Yeah.
partner tomorrow. So I don't know. Again, well, we'll defer to the gym owner again. How hard? It's great. It's easy to say it. How hard is it to enforce that?
Yeah, right.
Or to really to stick with that rule? Does are guys like? Have you ever had somebody that's just like, no, but coach, I really want to roll. Like, oh, let me roll. Is that happening too?
Yeah, for sure. So I'll talk about that, and then I'll talk about something that I think we're behind on as a culture in the martial arts industry that other sports are way above.
Sure.
So if I'm getting pushback from somebody, I really want to roll and this and that, I'll say, okay, no problem. And then I'll tell them exactly this. Please, I want you to remember this, okay? That if you feel like before we even get to a live roll, I'll ask them, have you done positional? And if they're like, no, I haven't, I'll say, get a higher colored belt, a blue, usually a purple, because we have a lot of different belts. I'll say a purple or above, and ask them to positional only spar with you. And then after another couple weeks of that, then you can do live rolls. Because honestly, if you're doing a live roll, okay, this is jujitsu.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And I'm a black belt and you're a brown belt and you guys have been training for a while, right?
Yeah.
How much of this do you really know in jujitsu? Be honest.
Like a dot and the side.
Okay. That's probably, I feel like I know
A
that too,
dot.
and I'm a black belt.
Yeah.
So what do you think the white belt knows of this in a live roll?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Like a pin dot.
Yeah.
So we need to take that pin dot and dice it into 16 pieces and take one part of that pin dot and just have them practice that till they feel good enough to then do another position, another, till that pin dot becomes a little bit round, and then we can build out from there.
Yeah.
Kind of into jujitsu. Okay. This is where our culture of martial arts, we get it wrong. I feel like striking and boxing are a little ahead of us when it comes to training people. Like, we're in this martial arts culture where you sign up the first day and you roll live the first day. Have you ever went to a professional boxing gym and had somebody sign up for classes and they spar a professional box? So why is this any different? It's asinine. We think we get a pass for this.
You have
This
zero.
is like, oh, I can skip all the basics. I can just get right to it. But you forgot about all of the basics. You forgot about all of the boring shit you need to do in order to get to that spot. You forgot about hitting the heavy bag. You forgot about the jump rope. You forgot about the footwork, which is the shrimping, the drilling, the positional sparring, the conditioning of just getting your body. We think we get this pass for it in jiu-jitsu, and I don't know why, but I tell people all the time, like, we're so behind on the way that we actually train people. It's backwards.
Yeah.
I want to, this is going to sound strange, but I want to just take one little thing that you just said there it's been bothering me for a while. Shrimping.
Mm-hmm.
When we do warm-ups and you got that one guy that just shrimps really, really super fucking fast down the mat, and I just want to tell him, like, you're not, like, they're just going really super fast. I actually thought about this the other day. I'm like, I really think that when you're shrimping, you should do the shrimp where you stay in the same spot and then you shrimp, but you don't move, right? Because you're not going down the mat. Because that's really more realistic. Like, everybody, you don't have to grab a partner. Everybody get on your back and shrimp in place. And I think that you start to really learn the dynamics of it. When I see these people whip down the mat, I'm just looking at them going like, yeah, man, that's just not what you're doing. Like, I'll shrimp a little bit faster because if I'm in a line of people that are shrimping fast, I'm like, all right, they just think I'm slow because I'm old. Where I'm really trying to, get my leg in, keep my, staying on my shoulders, not being flat on my back. And then there's some little kid that whips by me, right? Do you talk about that? I know it's such a strange, little specific question, but do you see that and do you correct that in your gym? We
don't do any line warm-ups. I don't like line warm-ups.
Okay.
I don't think that, personally, I don't think they're productive.
Okay.
I heard John talk about it down here a while ago about line warm-ups, and I was like, we're not doing that anymore. Like, I used to do it when we first opened the gym, but Rick and Phil, they've never done line warm-ups before. But if we do some warm-ups, we'll do some jiu-jitsu specific warm-ups, and a lot of them are in place. Okay. I love the way, talking about shrimps, that shanji, teaches shrimping in place and how he does it in different ways, and then he puts it into a flow. It's basically like solo jiu-jitsu, as John would call it. But, Shanji's been doing it for a while. It's movement for jiu-jitsu. You're practicing, you're warming up, doing jiu-jitsu for jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, Lovato does that too. I'll do one better. Something that I don't see a lot. Actually, I haven't seen it. I haven't seen it at all in jiu-jitsu, and I wish they would do it. I wrestled in high school, and when you would do line warm-ups, but it was always with your partner. So you how they like pair you up to do drilling? It's like you would just pair up for warm-ups, and if you do double legs, you do them all the way down the mat, and the guy's standing in front of you, so you shoot on his legs, you pick him up, you put him down. You shoot on his legs, you pick him up, you put him down. Dude, if we did that for shrimping, that would be so much better. Like, you just get together and just like shrimp out.
And I remember when we had Talita Allen Clark on, right? Yeah. She talked about how shrimping was like such a basic thing, and that how most people don't know how. Like, she was really talking about fundamentals, but she used shrimping as an example.
She went deep.
And and again, I go back to I would do like find solo drill videos online and do them as workouts, especially during COVID, and I had blown out my knee, so I had to do some stuff like you love that. So I had to do stuff, and I'm like, oh, this is like, I think it was probably the first time I ever shrimped in place, and I was just like, oh, that, and then learning like, okay, maybe connect my elbow and stay in tight, and where should my hands be, and staying up on my shoulders and going back and forth and just staying up on my shoulders. I'm just. I see a lot of people, and my coach sees this. I'm not shitting on my gym by any means. I have an awesome gym and an awesome instructor.
Yeah.
But when, you got, 20, 30 people on the mat and somebody's shrimping down, you're like, you can't just stop the whole, and just show everybody how to shrimp, right? You kind of learn it over time, trial and error. But I do see that, and I'm just like, man, you're just, I want to grab them sometimes and be like, look, you're not doing this right. But it's one of those basic things. It's like, hey, it's just part of the warm-ups. They don't realize how when they really need to use it, they don't really know how to shrimp. It's so funny how some guys just don't know how to shrimp. I mean, I've even learned how to shrimp better over the time. Even at brown belt, I'm just like really like getting good at getting my, like, just a little movement and getting my leg in, getting in between somebody. And we do so much Z-guard stuff at my school that we have to know how to shrimp to get into the Z-guard and get our leg back in. So anyway, again, I know I said it was like such a weird thing, but I think it does go to the larger, like, you need to do your fundamentals. You need to really learn. And I'm a big advocate of like, yeah, listen, that one, you could learn a lot in an hour, but like, I've always fed my mind outside of jiu-jitsu, finding videos and studying jiu-jitsu and looking. I was never a big instructional guy, but just like on YouTube, like, I want to find things that like, hey, your leg should be seeing somebody do something differently, and I just see, oh my God, when they put their hand here, that completely changes the move, right? I like finding those videos. So like, I like Brendan McCaffrey, like 1 minute jiu-jitsu hacks, and Jason Scully stuff with 55 chokes in 5 minutes. Like, those are the ones that I take to. I hate just watching an instructional. I like to go, oh wow, I do that. Oh, and if I put my foot there now, oh, it's a different move, or I'm going to get better at it. So that's how I do it. Do you encourage your guys or discourage from like going on YouTube and learning moves? Have you? I'm sure you've in the times that you've been training, as long as you have, I'm sure you've had to have those conversations with people.
I encourage. I think there's a lot to learn from a lot of great people out there, and as long as they can apply it to their jiu-jitsu in a good way, I encourage it. I discourage it, or I should say, I tell them to limit it if it's confusing them on being a jack of all and a master of none. Like, if they're like, oh yeah, this week or this class I'm going to try this, and then they're like, well, I learned this other thing, so I'm going to try this. And like, you can't get good at something trying to master it in 3 minutes, and you practice for another 3. You got to stay consistent with it. So I think keeping open to the idea of obviously learning from other people, but then also knowing like how to incorporate it into your learning for long-term results.
Having so many disciplines under one roof, do you find it? You've probably been in an all jiu-jitsu gym at some point in your career? Yes,
of course.
Of course. How difficult do you find it to like have to bring it all together for some people? Like, for the people that really do want to learn MMA and learn like everything and how to put it together, that's a whole nother test that the traditional jiu-jitsu professor doesn't even have to ever worry about. How difficult is that to help somebody bring it all together, especially when they're not looking to be professionals, when it's just like the hobbyists and putting it all together?
Coming from the Gracie Jiu-Jitsu background with Rick and Phil and Helson and the Elio Gracie and the self-defense background, it's actually fairly easy because we do the combatives.
Okay.
And when you do the combatives, it's like it's MMA.
Yep.
Okay.
And it's once they get through that, they know the clinch, the hold, the on the ground, somebody's in your guard trying to punch you. So it's fairly easy,
Okay.
to be honest, because I have the curriculum and I know how to implement it.
So if somebody's coming to your school, I'm not going to say mandatory, but if somebody goes to your school, they're learning everything, whether they realize it or not, or whether they want to or not. No, we're teaching you everything. We're teaching you everything that you need to know, and they're going to learn all parts of MMA, regardless.
So they would be learning the combatives part, which would be like, if somebody is punching you, but it wouldn't teach you like, okay, how to hit a takedown, how to hit a single off of the wall, and all of those things. When we do the street week, we'll incorporate some of that stuff like as bonus material, but we're still going over the basics. What do you do when somebody's like has you in the headlock or you're up against the wall and they are trying to punch you? How would you rotate out? And then if our students are like doing kickboxing and jiu-jitsu, now they even have more of a robust kind of toolbox, because now they know how to kick properly. They know how to punch properly. They know how to block properly.
They have a
and
real
now they know
sense
how
of
to do the ground
reality.
stuff.
So let's talk about, I've got your Instagram up and it says Striking Wizard. Tell us about that.
Man, I've been doing striking now for like over 20 years, more than 20 years. And I feel like I have a real like niche for learning different things and being able to pick out stuff like that people can't see. Like I'll watch UFCs with people and I'll watch previous fights with certain people and I'll be like, this is how this person is going to lose tonight. I swear I'll call it. You can ask Phil. I'll like text him 20 minutes before the fight. And I'll be like, this guy, this is how this fight is going to end and it will happen. He'd be like, dude, you're like a wizard. Like, how do you know this stuff? Just from body movements and seeing what they do. So I have like this knack for striking in MMA and learning how the body moves and can like really pick up on stuff.
Did you fought as well, right? Did you actually get in the cage? Tell us about your experience. How far did you take it?
So I just did it locally here. And then after like I had like my 5th MMA fight, it was a title fight. It was in Atlantic City, New Jersey. You're from Long Island, right?
I'm from Long Island.
Wait, you're from New York.
Yeah, I'm from
Long Island. So
Medford, Long Island.
All right, so you know where Atlantic City, New Jersey is, right? The casinos. Then all right. So I had a title fight there. After my title fight, I was going on to my next fight, and basically I was going to become a professional mixed martial artist. That was my goal. And then I had a hip injury, and I don't know if you guys know this about me, but I have 2 fake metal hips.
I've had them. I have seen it. I've listened to some of your podcasts. Yeah, I heard you talk about it.
Yeah. So that kind of like put a stop on everything. And then I became like instead of the practitioner of implementing the striking, I became all right, now how can I show other people the striking? And then it turned into, all right, well, how can I make this part of my life since I can't be a fighter anymore?
Do you think it's, I guess for the MMA side, I wouldn't call it a dirty little secret. I'm going to say from the jiu-jitsu side. Do you think there's this dirty little secret about how much we're hurting our bodies with jiu-jitsu?
I don't know.
It's hard as a gym. I know I'm putting you on the spot as a gym owner, so I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that, but I think about it a lot. I'm not a gym owner, but I think about it a lot. I'm like, damn, man. I mean, I'm older. I started when I was older, but damn, I've had a lot of injuries. I walk around with injuries. I have bursitis in my elbow, in my shoulder. I'm getting cortisone shots every 3 months. Like, it's a rough sport, but I take that over not knowing how to defend myself and not knowing what I know.
And the other benefits of jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. I for a long time, I again, like advocate. Even when I've gotten hurt, advocate, well worth it. And as I get older, I'm like, man, would I wish some of the pain that I have, and I'm not like to the extreme, but hey, like Ray's getting knee surgery, had knee surgery today. Like a friend of ours had knee surgery. Like, is it a dirty little secret? Like, I don't know. I'm still an advocate for the sport, obviously. But there's sometimes I'm just like, man, I feel bad trying to recruit somebody my age, knowing that, hey, you're gonna hurt yourself one day, or you're gonna be out, or potential but neck injuries. I mean, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that. Again, I don't feel bad. I'm sorry if I'm putting you on the spot as a gym owner to be like, yeah, jiu-jitsu is dangerous. You show up tomorrow, nobody shows up for class.
I doubt it.
I think it depends on the individual.
Yeah.
Right. I think it depends on the individual. I think you have to ask yourself, do the benefits outweigh the risk? I think for certain people it does. The mental and physical aspects. More so the mental, like how does it make you feel? And if you didn't have this, and you could extend your joints or I don't know, some other part of your body another 3 or 4 years, would it be worth it to you? And you could ask the person that, and some people might be like, nah, that ain't worth it. Like I'll get the replacement, and my mental health is way more important to me about what I'm gaining from this than, the downside of it.
Invest in Stryker.
What's up?
I said invest in Stryker.
What is that?
They're like the robotic surgery company
Okay.
that has all the replacements for like hips and knees and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And who knows? We might have something like that for
It's
the future.
so good. No, they have that now.
I mean, I'm hoping that by the time that I'm would let's say by the time I would normally have been really banged up, that the surgeries are going to have gone that far,
dude.
that I'm gonna come out better than I was before.
Dude, I talked to 50-year-olds that look like hell. They don't look like you, and they've never done shit.
Yeah. No. Hey, listen.
Yep.
I asked the question, but at the same time, I'm an
BJJ
advocate. My answer is,
Dude,
I would rather do it, have all my
you have a better
owies.
quality of life, dude.
Yeah.
Screw
Yeah,
that.
and
Fuck being soft.
It's no. I'm asking the question. I'm not saying it for me. I'm saying like I mentally,
You're getting
I'm healthier.
soft, Milton.
No. I'm saying mentally, I'm healthier. I wouldn't give this up for the world. I prefer to know what I know
For sure.
with the injuries than to have never done it at all. That's my answer. But it does become increasingly hard to recruit somebody, especially
you
older
have
people that I
guilt?
know,
You
when
have
it's just
guilt?
like I'm sitting there like getting out of a chair going,
Yeah, but what if?
and then they're like, "You're right." I'm like, "Yeah, jiu-jitsu. Yeah, come down to a training session." That's a little difficult.
Unless he's an old cop, then you got to say yeah.
Maybe different at 20 and 30, but at 50, my 40-plus-year-old friends are like, "Yeah, not going to do it." So
I'm the opposite.
yeah. What's that?
I'm the
You getting
opposite.
everybody?
Yeah, let's
You're
go.
like, "Come on, Grandpa.
I'm
let's
annoying.
Go. Let's
I'm
roll,
annoying,
Grandpa."
Dude. I'm still annoying. I'm probably the best guy to have in your gym because all I'm doing is talking about this shit.
And smashing trial guys.
Yeah, trial guy could get it, especially if I invite him.
It's like CrossFit and being vegan. You just can't stop talking about
Yeah,
it. Right?
100%. And anytime anybody has a problem, I'm just like, jiu-jitsu fixes that, bro.
Yeah,
Jiu-jitsu.
I'm still
Yeah.
like that. I'm still like that.
You know how to, those people, like, it's almost like you're narcissistic. Yeah, it's like, that's the only thing you talk about. People be like, yeah, man, it's like, and I had to put my dog to sleep the other day. I was like, jiu-jitsu, I put people to sleep all the time.
I've heard people say that.
What's that?
I've heard that for a while now. Like, so I got something wrong. It's jujitsu, this and this and that. But I do think. How many different gyms have you trained at, Miguel?
Like trained, like, and I'm a member, or trained at?
Trained at.
Over 15.
All right. How many have you trained at?
Not 15, maybe under 10. But I
went to a new one this
home
weekend.
gyms. I've only had 2 home gyms. I feel like I'm lucky in that regard.
Where you could get like a real good feel for like what's what, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
3
yeah.
for me, if that's the.
Yeah.
If that's
I've been at the same gym now for this year 7 years.
Out of the 3 gyms, would you say that, and you also, both of you, would you say that there's probably a gym that would be better for the older guy for the long run than the other place?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my gym we have a lot of older guys. They have a huge kids presence, a huge female presence, and a lot of older guys.
Huge. Huge.
We're like they get the kid through the door, and then the parents wind up training. That's like we have like most kids. I say most. A good 30% of the kids that train, they have at least one parent that trains with us, if not
Awesome.
both. And then we have a husband-wife team, so women trading with the women now. Sometimes we mix it up, but most of the time the women are training on the other side of a wall. We don't even see them, and then the guys are on the other side. And then once in a while, maybe one of the coaches is away, and we all train together. But again, still the weave and split the mat, though. Might be the same coach, but the girls get to train with the girls. And then there are some girls that are like, yeah, come on, Milt, let's roll. So it's their choice if they want to roll with the guys. But yeah, go ahead. I mean, was there more to the question?
No, it was just really just saying, like, to answer your question, is it a dirty little secret that people are getting hurt if you're asking an older person to come train? I think it also would make sense to ask yourself, what gym am I asking this person to come train?
Right. That's the right question for sure.
He just, before you got on, he went to train at a gym.
With Mello. I went to Mello's gym.
Tony Mello, who's been on the show.
Shout out to Mortalis Gym, man. It was great. Thank you,
gym owner down here in Florida. And he said, he was just like, yo, went to train with Tony.
6 p.m. Sunday class. That should tell you what's up.
6 p.m. or
6
a.m.?
p.m.
Oh, I thought you said a.m. before.
PM,
okay.
PM is way more deadly.
Yeah, 6 p.m.
PM is deadly.
But he was just like, yeah, that was some. Okay, you said it was some crazy training. Like,
it was
that was
good.
High level training, right?
It was an open mat. It was a no-gi open mat. And, dude, they were all class. And I ate some humble pie because they're all competitors. It's a competitive school.
And I asked him, too, when he said that, I said,
It's super fun,
just hunting legs, right? And he goes, yeah. He's like,
yeah, dude, I can't even count how many times. I mean, I was in Ashi probably like each round for at least a minute.
Yeah.
And then if it didn't work, I try to come on top of the conference.
Yeah.
There was good scrambles. The sign of a good competitive gym is how close different groups get to each other, and they don't stop, but they're all so very aware.
You mean when you're rolling?
Yeah, so like this group rolling, this, like, you start staggered. Yeah. Dude, they'll almost be touching each other, but it's like the culture there is like they're so aware of what's going on. And then the people that aren't rolling, just nobody says anything. White belt, everybody.
It was like, hey, watch out.
No, they get up and they get in between.
Yeah.
They'll get up and just stand in there.
Yeah.
It's really neat. Like, I was just like, that's like, you see that in videos too of competitive schools.
I do get what you're saying, Charlie, too. Is like, yeah, I mean, again, if I go away from just the home gyms into other gyms that I've been to, there's like, I would tell him to go there, but I wouldn't tell. It's almost like when a mom does ask me, I usually, if they're not in my area, because we do have an awesome kids program at my home gym in Coral Springs, Florida, I'll say, find, and unfortunately, when I actually looked online myself, there aren't a lot of them. I would always say, find a Gracie gym that does a bully-proof program. If they have a kid, right, I say, or just at least find a gym that has like an anti-bullying program, like that they advertise that, because I think that's super important, especially when they're really
that screams
small.
Kids.
Yeah, and I love that whole bully-proof where they start with like use your words and get an adult, like really, you know, right? You said you teach to come back. Have you ever done the bully-proof program? Have you ever taught that? Is that part of your curriculum?
So I have it. I know what it is. We implement something very similar to it. We don't adopt the trademarked bulletproof thing, but we do something very similar to it.
Got it.
So I'm always, if a parent asks me, like I used to work a half hour from where I live, so if I was at, like they might be another half hour away, and I would say find a gym in your area if you can't find a Gracie gym. And then when I actually looked up in like the Gracie gyms or the bullyproof program, like they had like a map locator. There weren't a lot in South Florida, so but I just tell them, find a gym with a lot of kids, a good kids program. You might even find some, gym that picks up the kids in a van after school, right? Bring them. They have, they help them with their homework, and then they do jiu-jitsu. Like that's the school that I'm in. That's what they do. They have a great kids program, and it's
jiu-jitsu is slowly becoming the new karate, and not in the sense of like something that isn't that functional in a real street fight, but more in the sense of like kids, parents are getting more wise to like, if I'm going to take my kid to a place for self-defense, I'm going to take him to this place because this self-defense works in a real life self-defense situation, but I still think all martial arts is good, in terms of like discipline and stuff like that. But I think it's like gaining way more popularity.
But to your point, I get what you're saying. You made me think about it a little bit. Yeah, like I wouldn't recommend. If I would bring somebody to my school, I would bring somebody older to my school. I wouldn't send them to Mortalis. Like I wouldn't send a 50-year-old guy. I've never been there, but I would be like, I would say like class. I would be like get a little bit more of the traditional martial arts. I don't think that you want to be having a 19-year-old heel hooking you just yet. right?
Mhm.
You know, like let's learn some of the basics, and you're going to learn that at a school like mine more. And then if you feel like you want to advance and get a little crazy, then there's some other places you can go. But yeah, I get what you're saying, Charlie. I think that's super important.
Different vibes.
I do want to ask you about the hips. So you said you have 2 hip replacements. You said.
So it's called resurfacing, which is really similar, which is very similar to replacement. Yeah. So they just like, this is the femoral head. Instead of taking it off here and taking the bone and the ball off, they just cut the ball off and replace it with a metal cap, like a metal ball. Wow. And then inside my hip socket, there is a metal cup. So it's metal on metal.
Yeah.
And I had to have that done on both sides over, now we're talking before my daughter was born. So 7 years ago or so.
Yeah.
So how does that, I mean, are you back to quote unquote normal? Like, can you like
you walk like
the pain
4
is
days
gone
later.
and you're great? Are you like 2 inches taller as well? Like what has it improved in your world, especially as a martial artist?
Mostly what it improved was it gave me the thing back that I love, which is martial arts, which I for one point, I thought it was taken away from me for life. I mean, until you have an injury, like literally have an injury, and not many people talk on this. Again, this is the jiu-jitsu world is mostly vocalized by people who haven't went through crazy injuries. There are some people I've seen online recently, if they have like a spinal injury or something, a neck injury, and like they're paralyzed and stuff. Whereas like, they're not talking about like what happens. What's your life like if you can't do this anymore? Right. Everybody's like, oh,
still doing
you just got to push through it. Like, I'm sorry to say, guys, but there's some injuries where I don't care how mentally tough you are, like you won't be able to do it.
Yeah,
like,
Ben from Fight Sports.
You could paralyze yourself.
Well, he is paralyzed. Yeah. But he's like back to boxing. You know, like he uses boxing for rehab. It's like you can't take the fight out of that. Like that's what's gonna happen. But you're not doing the jiu-jitsu push. You know.
No, it's the mental. So the biggest thing that I got back was the mental part of like, I can go back to what I love, to what I'm really here for, right? Like martial arts gave me so much as a child. Like it boosted my confidence. It gave me the ability to stick up for myself. It made me, like be able to accomplish things in my life that I never thought were possible. And then all of a sudden it was like taken away from me. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. Like, wait, like I don't get the jiu-jitsu high anymore. I don't get the hang out with my friends. I don't get that hard sweat. I don't
Were
get
you
that
a gym owner at that time? So you weren't a gym owner. So you were really out of it. So it's not like you own a gym. Well, like at least I can still train people, but no,
Nothing.
you were, wow.
Just full
Nothing.
cold turkey.
Yeah, I couldn't. Yeah.
3 years, man, because my first double hip surgery failed. The first one was the labrum in my hip was not repaired correctly. And the first surgeon was like, oh, you're good to go. 6 months later, after the surgery of being in a walker, I was like, dude, this still hurts. And he goes, well, let's do an x-ray. And then we did an x-ray. He's like, I don't know what you want me to tell you. He's like, you don't have any cartilage left in your hips. So I'm like, so what's that mean, dude?
What did I pay you for? I thought you fixed me.
He's like, what do you mean? What's that mean? He goes, go figure out something else to do. And I'm like, are you serious? I was like, I just basically gave up my life to get double hip surgery through you to lay on a couch for my mom to bathe me in it, because I couldn't walk, man. Like it's embarrassing. It's really embarrassing. Did you
do them both at the same time? That's unusual
same
to
time.
do both at the same time. Isn't that
same time?
I thought that was like completely the opposite of what you're supposed to do. Like one at a time so that you can get around a little bit. They did them at the same time. The first time they did them at the same time. Second time?
Both times.
Wow.
And so I had to do the shit show. I had to do the shit show. I call it twice.
Really? Wow. And now let's fast forward to now though. You can move like can you move like when you were a young kid?
Anything.
Like no pain. Yep. You could throw your kicks. You could do jiu-jitsu. The pain's gone.
Kids, bro. He's good.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Ready to rock.
Ready to rock. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Do you feel like it when you do like a scarf fold, do you feel like it's better? Like a scarf fold choke, like when you're in judo position, you can just throw more hip into it now? No?
He'll give me a little
So no superpowers?
No difference.
I was wondering if maybe there was something extra that you got out of it.
He's gonna go to his doctor tomorrow and be like, I want a hip replacement.
I want these to be titanium rods.
I can kick way higher. I can kick way higher.
Oh, you
Yeah.
said really? Yeah.
That's
There's
the other
nothing
thing.
blocking it. It's
Yeah.
just
Oh, you
wow.
got G.I. Joe leg?
Yeah.
feels like it.
Yeah.
I swear, man, it feels like it.
Yeah,
I can
that's-
head kick without warming up.
That's awesome.
How did you, when you go back to that point when you realize, oh wow, this second knee replacement, double knee replacement actually took
No, hip.
I'm sorry, what did I say? Leg replacement?
Knee.
What did I say?
I don't know. He's not Lieutenant
said
Dan,
knee.
bro.
Your hip replacement. I mean, how do you remember that moment and like, oh wow, I'm going to be able to do this again. This is
Yeah.
this worked. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
It was like riding a bike, man.
Yeah.
All those feelings come rushing back. It was like deja vu. You're like, oh,
Those special feelings.
Yeah.
here, like it's,
I'm gonna
Yeah.
kick this dude again.
I mean, if I'm out like legit, I feel like my wife knows. Like my wife, we've talked about this a lot. My wife used to hate jujitsu. Now she knows
She understands.
when I don't do it. She's like, you should go to the gym today. She's like, you should go to the gym. She like I know, and I'm like, yeah. We don't even got to say it. I just know like she realized like I'm tense. She sees it like I had a bad day.
Yeah.
She just knows like, come home from jiu-jitsu, I'm a different person. I could go exhausted,
Yeah.
headache, just the weight of the world on my shoulders, and I come back and I'm just like chit chat. Like we're talking for an hour. Like we
And
both
she's
go
like,
to
I'm
train to
trying to
different
sleep.
places, and we come back and we're just sitting in the kitchen, just chit chat. We're like,
Yeah.
oh shit, look at the time. Like it's just a whole different world. I mean, again, I'm
Yo.
you know.
You want to hear a cool story?
Go ahead.
So we homeschool, and we went on like the homeschool family group that we belong to.
Yeah.
We all went on a camping trip to the Everglades National Park, and we're just out there, and like it takes me like 10 seconds before I say something about jujitsu. Like after we get all the tents set up and so we're all hanging around, we're starting to cook food. Dads are kind of like getting to know each other because we don't see each other a lot. The moms see
Yeah.
each other more. Yo, all of them trained.
Oh really?
All of them.
All the guys?
All of them.
Yeah.
Every single one of them.
How about the kids?
I-
Are the kids training too?
Yeah, their kids
Their
trained.
kids trained
yeah,
too?
and they're only in the Coral Springs area.
Okay.
And I think one of them used to go to
So my
yeah,
school.
and it was just like, but on my way out, I was like, man, it's gonna be 4 days.
Yeah.
No phone, no BJJ.
Charlie, you both have. How old are your kids?
So I have one. My girl is 6 years old, and then my little boy is 5 months old.
Oh, wow. Oh,
Brand
okay.
new one. Congratulations.
So you have yours are.
Thanks, man.
My son's about to turn 8, and
Yeah.
then my daughter's 10.
Does your daughter? I've got to assume your daughter trains.
Yeah.
She trains something.
Yeah,
I
she
bet-
Yep.
Does that
Yeah.
5-month-old suck or what?
Yeah, man. He doesn't.
He doesn't. His shrimping
All
sucks.
he knows.
Yeah,
All he knows how to do is pull guard. I don't know.
that's it. Yeah, what a noob.
Did you bring him home? Did you bring him home in the?
Oh, did you
in
get the baby
jiu-jitsu
gi?
I didn't get the baby jujitsu gi, but
No.
like I put him on his back and I'll do leg circles.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's good. Yeah, egg beaters for sure. Yeah.
I'm too old to have any more kids, but
I'm done.
I have a 30-year-old daughter who's going to be getting married soon,
Does she
and
train?
I'm like, I'm gonna get her the gi. You have to bring the baby home in the gi, a boy or girl. I'll get a pink gi.
That's dope.
You got to bring it for me. Just do that one thing for me. I want them to come home
Gotta
in the gi.
bring home in the gi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dope.
That's
What belt?
I have
What
another one
belt
I'll
is
do,
it
but-
appropriate to put a black belt on a brand new baby?
I did for my daughter when she was. I got her the little Gracie Jiu-Jitsu gi. It had a black belt.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's dope.
Yeah. I have a stepdaughter who didn't want to have anything to do with jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
And I wasn't doing jiu-jitsu
Yeah.
when my daughter was young enough for me to influence that. We did bring her when my daughter comes down. My older daughter comes down from Virginia. She'll go to the kickboxing. Well, I'll go with my wife to her
Yeah.
kickboxing, so she'll come. She loves that.
Well,
I'm
she's
trying to get her to keep it to do it when she
You
goes
gotta
home.
get her in. She's working for the family.
Yeah,
biz,
she
bro.
does. She does a lot of our. She handles the graphics and stuff like that for Jiu-Jitsu Dummies, and she does like the questions
only a
posts
matter
and
of
stuff that I
time.
posted. And
Nice.
she does. Well, she manages the graphic designers that does that, but she puts that all together and makes sure it gets done, and then she posts some of that stuff. So I'm hoping that you start to see it enough, and maybe I'll do a class. I think
Yeah.
she's too girl. I hate to say. My girls are too girly. They're just like more worried about
There's
their
a gym.
nails.
There's a
than
gym for
anything.
that.
Yeah.
There's a gym for that. There's gotta be a gym for that.
There's a gym for that.
Yeah, there's a
But,
gym.
you know,
for that.
my wife was like that too, and now she can't go like more than a day without like going to her kickboxing classes.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
she was like that. She never worked out her entire life, and maybe about 5-6 years ago, she, with me always going to the gym, I push her to go to the gym or come with me. She didn't want to do jiu-jitsu. She jumped around a bunch of, like, tried yoga, tried, I guess it's called, like, bar.
Oh,
she
Pure
tried
Barre.
Pilates.
My wife loves Pure Barre.
And she landed on kickboxing. She just found a place.
Right.
Her best now, just like her best friends all come from that school. All the girls, the women that she hangs out with, they're all from that school. So she found something. That's when she backed off of me a little bit too, with the whole, like, you're training too much. Really? 5 days a week, 6 days a week? Really? You were gone for 4 hours. Well, it was an open mat. We went to go drug,
Yeah.
And now she's like, again, now she's more like, you should go train. You should go to, or you want to come with me? Like, now that's the conversation should be like, really? You're going to leave me here by myself again every day? Really? And now it's just like, go to the gym now.
I get it.
You
It
don't
is-
want to, she's now on me. She's like, I train more than you now. She's like, what's going on here? I'm
Yeah.
like, yeah.
I like being home alone, babe.
Yeah, right. So let's get into. We're gonna do a couple of questions here. We call this the drill down, and these are questions that we ask just about every guest or a variation of them. Do you want to do it, Bo? I'm sorry.
The drill down.
Bo has to do the sound effects. Sorry.
Yeah.
So there's a list of questions we ask just about every guest. We'll maybe we can elaborate on them. They're not like you don't have to answer them one-word answers. We can talk about them as well. But these are questions that we ask almost everybody. So your preference, gi or no gi?
No gi.
Okay. Are you a takedown or pull guard kind of guy?
I answered this on the BJJ Fanatics, and I guess the context would matter. Is it like a street fight, or is this like a competition?
No, you're training. If somebody said, hey, let's go, you want to go roll? Are you grabbing your no gi kit or are you grabbing your gi? Or excuse me, I'm sorry. We're takedown pull guard. So I mean, you're training at the gym. What would you say?
Most likely takedown.
Okay.
Yep.
This is one of my new favorites because I think I feel like it says a lot about somebody, or at least gives me insight into their brain a little bit. Music during rolling. Do you blast the music?
Electronic.
Okay. So I would assume like during instruction, there's nothing on or it's low, and then when you're rolling, you'll turn up the radio and then just roll.
I do like electronic, so I have like a BJJ playlist. I'll do like electronic music. I'll do some rap in there. I'll do some funk music. My wife's from Brazil,
funk's
so
great.
I like funk Brazilian music.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
I like any kind of like upbeat music, that gets me going. I like that.
Have you heard the Funk the Acai song?
Funk the us.
No,
Funk
go
the
on, send it to me. I'll listen to it.
and they're like, this lady, she's saying what she's saying or whatever, but the hook of the song is literally her screaming, like, and it's like annoyingly long. It's so good. It's like she's like just like acai. I'll send it to you.
Where did
It's so good.
Please do.
Yeah,
Please
it's
do.
such a good. It hypes me up every time.
So usually, if somebody listens to electronic music, they were in the clubs when they were younger. Were you out
Yes,
there partying?
I was.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Wait-
Do you remember the tunnel in New York City?
Both from New York.
Oh, yeah.
Both
We
from the
used to
city.
do-
I grew up on
Come
Long
on,
Island, so
man.
I
We
never
used to
went
do
to
work for
I
them.
didn't go into the city clubs until I went away to college, upstate New York, and then my friends like lived in like around the like on the outskirts of the city, and I'd go home with them, and then I started to like discover some of the clubs.
We used to do printing for them.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
For
that's
all the
right, yeah.
clubs, yeah.
So where did you grow up?
In New Jersey.
You grew up in New Jersey, and where are you now? You're in.
So I'm still in New Jersey.
Oh, you're still in New Jersey.
Yeah.
What were you talking about before? You said Pennsylvania or Philly?
Oh, those were his
Your
professors.
coaches.
No, his professors' coaches.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
No, that's where Rick and Phil are also. They're in Philadelphia. So
Yeah.
I'm in a spot in New Jersey where Philadelphia is a half an hour away.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Makes sense.
And then if I jump on the train, it's only an hour to New York.
Okay.
Oh, are you close to Lydia's gym?
Lydia Bergamasco or Coleman?
Coleman, yeah,
She's Coleman now. Lydia Bergamasco?
or Lydia Coleman.
I don't know.
Because she was texting me. She was like, I'm an hour away from.
We've had
From
her on the
Tom-
show.
Tom-
She's a competitor.
She's a black belt competitor, female, and she was like, I'm an hour away from Tom DeBlas, and I'm like 30 minutes away from this gym, and I'm like 30 minutes away from this gym.
Yeah,
It sounds like the same area.
So yeah, I like that because I like to hear the kind of music people listen to, because then you can kind of go back a little bit and be like,
Yeah.
okay, what kind of like how did they grow up, or what kind of person?
What
they
about
were.
Chill Hop? You'll play
Chill
that?
Hop?
Yeah.
Dude, minimal
Office.
tech. Minimal tech is the best.
Yeah,
That's
you like that shit.
Minimal tech.
All right. So you're a coach. You're a gym owner. Do you watch a lot of MMA and BJJ? Or let's say
I watch
MMA.
way
You,
more.
you said at UFC, right? You watch a lot of UFC.
Way more MMA than strictly jiu-jitsu.
Same.
Are you watching like the Who's Number Ones? Are you watching the ADCC? Are you watching the IBJJFs?
I watch that.
That's
No
a rabbit hole.
IBJJFs.
Do you watch the IBJJFs as well?
No.
Yeah, I watch,
You like
but
that.
I watch the. I'm at the point now where I watch the highlight reels. Like I'm on maintenance mode. Like I know the competitors, like the high level competitors, the guys who podium and they're just trading podium places all the time. I got those guys, and pretty much only like in the black belt division. The only like superstar, recently promoted, Cole Abate just got.
Yeah.
Like those kind of guys, the Rotullo brothers.
yeah.
They're black belts now, but I've.
Yeah,
I get it like
can't-
that, but dude, hold on. The UFC stuff and just that type of like Bellator, UFC, one championship, the MMA matches.
Yeah.
I feel like the gym style of like how you're training that makes you such a better fan. And then I also wanted to say like the way you explained your striking wizard thing. It's like that's how Trevor Whitman is. Like
I know Trevor. I've heard. I don't know him personally, but I know of him.
But
very
he's
well.
like that. Like how you say, he's just like they every once in a while during UFCs they'll bring him on to comment for
I
the
like that.
striking.
Yeah.
And every time he talks, I'm like, fuck, bro, just replace one of these people and just leave Trevor in there. He's so good.
He wants to replace the gloves, right? He's got that
The
brand
Onyx,
of gloves.
the Onyx gloves. Yeah, everybody brags about him. I guess. Yeah, they're good.
I
mean,
wonder if that's why they don't have him on anymore because he's been like really
it's not
pushing
him.
hard.
Joe Rogan's pushing it more than he is.
Yeah, but just like it's like this competition to.
It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen, bro.
I think one of the organizations have to pick up that glove. Do you know what we're talking about? Like the gloves and he's got the Onyx gloves and he says the fingers don't. I guess the UFC gloves kind of push the fingers out.
Yeah, they are.
And
I've put them
he
on.
says-
They keep your hands like this for sure.
Yeah, the UFC gloves.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Any thoughts on that?
Eye poke suck.
Man, whoever can figure that out, I think would be a complete genius.
Yeah.
But he is right. The stiff MMA gloves, the UFC ones particularly, will stick your hands. They make them go like this. Like MMA amateur gloves, because they're a little bit more padded, make your hands curl, so it's actually harder to make a fist or grab a wrist.
Okay.
And then the MMA gloves, depending on like which organization that you fight in, all have kind of like a different feel. And then people wrap their hands accordingly to what kind of fighter they are and what kind of style that they do. But I think in general, that is a hard thing to figure out for how not to get poked in the eye. It's hard, right?
It makes
what's the
grappling
easy
hard
medium
too,
between this and squeeze?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Especially people, and it's also a conservation of energy. Like anytime you're running or you're striking, you don't keep death grip. So it's like the amount of fatigue that you're going to receive even from that minimal 5-8 pounds of pressure constant.
Yeah.
It's like.
What do you think about this whole this ADCC deal with the Fight Pass?
ESPN? Oh, no. Yeah. Well, ESPN Plus, so it's going to go on.
No, it's Fight Pass.
Fight Pass. Oh, it's Fight Pass.
It's Fight
That's
Pass.
right.
It's Fight Pass with ADCC. Have you heard about this? They signed this deal. I'm wondering. We've been talking a lot about one championship lately. Is this like that kind of first step, or is it like as long as UFC has a piece of it, would we ever see like a jiu-jitsu only match in the UFC? I don't think we would. Like the one championship stuff where Mikey's coming in as like a I don't know, was he a co-main last time? I think he was like a co-main, right? Mikey in the where he just blew out this guy's knee.
Yeah,
was he a co-main?
Yeah,
right. It was like the co-main and maybe the third.
No. It was a championship. Bout.
Okay, so it was like a co-main and it's a jiu-jitsu only. Do you think that's in the cards here with this deal? You think that there's something like that in the future?
This is the one where Gordon got the 6 figures, right?
No, that's the Flow deal. That's Gordon and Flow. But during the last
ADCC is a Flow thing. Oh, it's not going to be a Flow thing anymore. It's going to be
ADCC is not Flow anymore. It is now. The last UFC event they announced that they're gonna the last pay-per-view just last weekend they announced that ADCC tournaments. Let me say that tournaments are going to be on Fight Pass.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know if that makes it. I'm not 100% sure. Somebody could tell us if that's also for like the full the ADCC finals every 2 years. I'm not sure that it's that. I know, I'm almost positive it said something specific to like the tournaments. So maybe the Flow deal isn't completely dead, but that would be odd to be on essentially two different networks. You know?
Unless Flow gets brought over too, they could get assimilated.
Yeah. Well,
you know?
To that point, I talked to somebody the other day about, UFC is just kind of famous for just like, well, just buy the competition, like a Facebook type of thing, right?
Yeah.
Buy Instagram. Let's not try to create that. Let's just buy it.
Buy what's that?
So, just bring them in, right? You got Combat Jiu-Jitsu on Fight Pass. You got Eddie Bravo's Combat Jiu-Jitsu.
The EBI stuff.
You got, all the EBI stuff. You've got, there's wrestling on Fight Pass now, right? Is there like professional
There's
wrestling?
all sorts
like
of
there's,
stuff.
there's all
So
kinds
is
of
Flow.
stuff.
Flow's not just Flow grappling. It's Flow bowling. It's Flow rodeo.
right.
Flow
There's
wrestling.
volleyball on
Yeah,
Flow.
there's everything.
Yeah.
Band.
I would like to see the UFC embrace that one championship model, but I don't know if that takes them so far away from their model that the fans are going to go, what is this? Only on the ground? Co-main event? What? I don't think people are used to it. Any thoughts on that?
I think I've been asked this a lot, and I've heard different people speak on it, and I've heard like different opinions. Where I'm like, well, that kind of makes sense. And then I'm like, well, is it more popular than it was 10 years ago? 100%. Like, people know who Gordon Ryan is, who aren't technically in the world of jiu-jitsu. 10 years ago, you could have asked who Royce Gracie was to somebody, and somebody would have been like, what are you talking? You could even ask who Chuck Liddell was 10 years ago, and people are like, who's that?
Yeah.
So I think we're becoming more mainstream, like with the grappling circuit.
Yeah.
But I don't know that we're there for a mixed martial arts type crowd as we were. Maybe in the next, 5 to 10 years, we will be, just from pure,
Demand
and people just getting more around it. But the thing that makes MMA so compelling that we forget about is, from a perspective for people who don't fight or grapple, is that when they see another human being punch another human being, it's entertaining, and nobody wants to look away. And as much as you say you don't like it, there's a reason why the Colosseum was built in Rome, and all those people came to see people get killed, because it's human nature. We love those types of things. And then when it's kind of, I don't want to say watered down, but watered down to the human psyche of like, why are they smashing or breaking or like really trying to hurt this person? Then it kind of diminishes the viewership of, why should I watch that, as opposed to where we watch it and we're like, this is awesome because it's very technical.
Yeah. I
mean, I have to go with dollars.
Yeah.
I've talked a little bit about, like, I started watching boxing as a little kid with my pops, and I just don't watch boxing anymore because I discovered MMA, and I'm just like, oh wait, punching and kicking, punching and choking, I would rather watch this. I had, and no offense to the boxing fans out there, but I kind of explained it as, in my mind, boxing is like the flag football to, like, right? I wouldn't watch flag football. Yeah. I would watch the NFL, right? I would, I'm not going to watch boxing when I can watch MMA. And I just slowly kind of went away from it. And I think boxing's felt that. That's why there's all this craziness about these influencers fighting and the Paul brothers, because it's just a different world now, and they're fighting to stay alive. If you ask the average
How about MTV
sports fan to name 5 boxers or name 5 title holders right now, I don't think anybody could do it. But I mean, during the Tyson era, it was like everybody knew who Mike Tyson was. Everybody knew Holyfield.
Yeah, Lennox Lewis.
Yeah,
you know the
Lewis,
names. Yeah,
and I mean, you could
but you could also get too gritty too, because it's like a lot of people. There are casual UFC fans now. It's not diehards anymore.
Yeah,
but
well,
like not a lot of people know.
Mostly casual fans.
There's a lot of people who grapple and then they appreciate it because they go to like a gym.
But I think the average person, when you go to the arena for UFC, most of those people have never stepped in a ring, never trained, never been on a mat, never done anything.
Man, I beg to differ.
I don't know. I don't think there's. What do you think, Charlie?
I'm going, Milton. I'm going with you.
Yeah,
I'm going. They haven't trained, but they just like the viewership of.
Wow.
Two people fighting.
I view it differently.
I think one championship.
Percentage
now,
wise,
that's the other side.
You're right. Milton's right.
I think that on the other side,
you could be right. I'm okay with being wrong. Yeah, I don't care.
I haven't watched it enough, but I think that I would say that when you watch one championship and it's just like Muay Thai, stand up only, jiu-jitsu only, MMA fight. I think that's where you get the person with the experience because they can appreciate those. But still, I would say, I mean, that's like the biggest organization in Asia. Everybody's not fighting.
And there's a lot. There's a lot.
Everybody
of people
didn't
over
fight.
there,
You know.
Hey, hold on. There is something to be said for this, Milton. For when you're comparing two different organizations and two different cultures, because the way that the Asian culture is brought up with pride, if you think back to pride and you think about the way that they would applaud and be quiet right
Super
away,
quiet.
that is part of their culture as like the samurai culture of being brought up through business and everything on how to think and act like the samurai. Whereas Americans, we're not trained like that. So they're trained on martial arts like in a different way, whereas we're not here. So for them to have an organization like that, they appreciate that more because it's already been instilled into their psyche and their basically their life.
I think more people are like
they
the meme.
know it's difficult.
The meme of like the fat guy on the couch, Dorito like chips all over,
and he's
going,
like,
stand him up.
Yeah, I would have done an
that's
armbar.
that's an American guy.
Yeah, right. That like more
Ice
people
cream.
are like that. I think in the world of UFC. Not to say that there aren't tons of fans. I get it, and lots of people train and look when you tell people that you're the average person, you haven't encountered Charlie with somebody that you've never met before, and they find out that you're a martial artist or just know jiu-jitsu. What's the first thing they say?
How many fights have you got in? Do you fight in the cage?
Okay.
You know, that's usually what they ask me.
What's the first thing somebody says when they find out that you do jiu-jitsu?
Jiu-jitsu after they're
What's
done.
the first thing they say? Not ask, but say.
Oh, first thing they say is they're just like, oh, what? Like most of the time they're just like, oh, like thanks to the UFC, they're like, oh, like okay, grappling.
For
that's
me,
pretty much what I kind of get.
what I was going
or
for,
it's like, or you do
I know what he's gonna
karate.
say. They do
Say
see that. He's
Yeah.
right.
He's
like, oh, so you do like karate? No,
Yeah.
Milton's right. That's what they
I've
say.
gotten
so
that.
You
I've
do
gotten
like karate.
that. Yeah.
No. What I feel like I get more than anything, I mean, the karate, the hi-ya thing happens, but the thing that I feel like I get the most is like, oh, yeah, I used to do taekwondo when I was a kid. They hear jiu-jitsu, and they're like, and I'm like, yeah, this guy knows nothing about what I just
all
said.
Kicks, baby. All
Everybody's
kicks.
wrestled. Everybody did something when they were a kid. Everybody almost got their blue belt. I remember one time in a barbershop, my barber said, hey, that guy said he used to train jiu-jitsu. And I was like, oh, do you train? I was like, what belt did you have? He's like, oh, I almost had my purple belt. And I'm like, just bullshit.
Yeah.
Because we would never say that.
That's the one you don't.
You would say I was a blue belt. I was a 2-stripe blue belt, right? I was a blue belt. I had 4 stripes.
How do you know you almost had your purple belt?
Yeah, I almost had my purple belt. And I was just like, I just nodded my head and I'm just like, yeah, this guy's never trained is just or wanted to puff up his chest to be like, yeah, I was on my purple belt. So you were a 1-stripe blue belt, like what?
Hey, Milton,
4-stripe white belt?
I'm this close to my coral belt, bro.
You would just
So
you would
close.
never answer it like that. But that's the one. I think that's the one that I get the most. Is they immediately have to say that they did something.
Yeah.
And I used to challenge them a little bit on it. Oh, what Oh, do you still train, or what made you stop, or just to like really to understand. Oh yeah, I did karate when I was a kid. I did karate when I was a kid for like 3 months and I quit.
My dad
My sensei hit a little kid, and I was a little pussy, and I was like in my single digit age, and I was like 9 years old, and that scared the hell out of me. And then I did some American Taekwondo when I was a teenager with some friends again, like for another 3 months. But that's where I started like hanging a bag in the tree at the house. When I moved out on my own, I always had a bag hanging in the living room with the Everlast stand. And then I kind of started to teach myself, and then pulled up YouTube videos. And that's where I started doing it myself beyond, doing stuff, watching boxing with my dad. But that's the response that I get the most is like, oh yeah, I used to do something. Like they could never just be like, oh, that's so cool, that's great. Like everybody has trained something. Yeah, I used to train karate too, but it was 3 fucking months. I know nothing.
Unless they say something first, or like you find out that they did taekwondo, and then like exactly what they did.
Yeah.
So then you go, I do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, I don't.
Smug as fuck.
I'm the further I've gotten in my journey, the less I bring it up.
Yeah.
But it's really
sure.
hard for it not to come up because I'm usually wearing a podcast tee. I got the tat on the arm. So unless I have a long sleeve shirt, they're going to see, hey, what's that? oh, jujitsu, you do jujitsu.
Yeah.
So like I say all the time, my wife says jujitsu threw up on me. Like she's just got to be like, can you get some shirts that don't say jujitsu? So like I'm always wearing something. So it usually comes up, but I'm also like, I tell her like, if I'm not promoting the podcast or the business, I named the business Black Belt Digital Marketing too. So it's like I can't get away from it. And we've got like the black belt in the logo, you know? So I can't get away from it. It always comes up. But if I'm not promoting it, who the hell's going to promote it, right?
Sure.
So, but I don't verbally bring it up as much as I did anymore. I just kind of like, if they don't know, or if they, you know, maybe I'm not wearing something, I feel like the more that I know, I just don't want anybody to know. It's like a cop not wanting to know anybody they're a cop.
For sure, yeah.
So, oh, you know jujitsu?
Unless you're a firefighter. Yeah.
You know, they want to be like, oh yeah, I know, you know, and I don't even want to be bothered with that anymore.
Yeah.
I got asked when I went to the other gym. They're like, "Aren't you the guy from the Jiu Jitsu Dummies podcast?"
How good did you feel good?
No, I did. It honestly feels really gay. I don't know why. Yeah.
Why?
I don't know, because it's weird. I don't view this as a weird thing that we do. Like, I like it and I enjoy it. Like, I really like doing this.
Yeah.
But when it gets recognized, it just feels not right for some weird reason.
Yeah, well,
and it doesn't happen all the time. It's happened maybe like 3 times.
But we're also not the type. We're not walking around being like, "Hey, you know,
guys.
don't you know who we are?" Like, we're not doing that. We're just like, we're sitting. We go to an event. We're like sitting like way back in the bleachers, like nobody could see us. You know, it's like odd for us to try to be like to promote. I don't like.
Go to other
I
gyms.
should be going to the events to promote and be like, "Hey, here's my card. Check out the podcast." And we don't even do that.
That feel corny though.
Yeah, it doesn't feel right. That doesn't feel right to me. But I like when somebody says, "Hey," like it usually happens in the gym. They're like, "Hey," because I'll wear like I have a patch on my gi, so somebody will be like, "Is that your? Where'd you get the patch from?" And I'll be like, "Oh yeah, I do the patch. Oh my god, yeah, I've heard that." You know, I told them today. I got a couple of messages recently where people are like, "Hey man, I listened to the podcast. I'm competing soon. I use it for motivation. I love it. I love what you guys say." Like I like that stuff.
Yeah,
but
cool.
I don't. My wife is always fucking with me. Like she's like, if I go to an event with you, is everybody gonna come up and ask you for your picture? And I'm like, no one's ever asked me for a picture at an event or otherwise.
I would be like, what, babe? Wait, babe, you want to come to an event with me?
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't want to do it. All right, let's jump back into the questions because we got a couple other ones. So we talked about watching MMA. Do you have a favorite competitor in jiu-jitsu and MMA, either or?
Yeah. So for the jiu-jitsu part, I'll watch IBJJF if it's like I like Mika.
Oh, Mika Gaval.
Mika Gaval, and then what's the other young Brazilian guy's name?
The Rotulo brothers.
I like Nicholas. I like Nick
Marigali.
Maga. Yeah,
Marigali.
I like him for gi.
His collar
I
sleeve
like
is unreal.
Lovato. Who's the other guy? I like Baby Shark.
I was gonna say Baby Shark because if you're saying Mika, they're on the same right. They're on the same team.
And then there's another guy. He's young. He's like probably in his 20s. I think he paints his fingernails. I forget his name.
The blonde guy. He's purple.
No,
is he brown? Skinny?
No, this dude is from Brazil, and he's
from Brazil.
Darker complexion.
Oh, from Brazil.
Yeah, Brazilian guy. I think he trains at the same gym as Mika.
Darker complexion. All them dudes are.
Yeah, dark hair, darker complexion.
Wait,
young,
is he training in Miami? Isn't he still training in Miami?
I don't know.
Mika goes back and forth, but when he's here in the States, he trains at Fight Sports down here in Miami.
Okay, cool. But yeah, I'll watch IBJJF for that. And those are some of my favorite guys that I like for gi.
Yeah.
Because I like Mika because he's implementing close guard. And I'm like, wow, this guy's using all the stuff that guys used before, but now he's using it in a new age setting. I just think it's really cool to watch that and how he does it.
That's why I love the Flow app, though, because you could watch just the matches.
Yep.
You can just go back and find those later, and that's usually how I watch them. But go ahead, continue, Charlie.
And Nogi, I like Gordon Ryan. I love Gordon Ryan, man.
He's pretty good.
Honestly. I think, obviously, I think he's one of the best guys out there.
Gordon who?
Gordon Ryan.
Gordon Ryan?
The chef.
Ryan, how do you spell that?
Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah, see that? Yeah, does he
He's
cook?
cooking. Yeah, because he's cooking motherfuckers up.
So what's your ultimate goal in this world of jiu-jitsu and martial art as you're opening your second gym? What's your ultimate goal in this world?
Multiple gyms that all follow, either my curriculum or whatever program that I adopt on the long run. and to be able to impact people on a more than a physical level, right? Like I really want, so Buddha martial arts, my motto is helping people change their lives through martial arts. For kids, it's character development. I want parents to be able to bring their kids into my program and literally tell me, which they already have because we've been open for 6 years. So imagine you bring your kid in at 4 years old.
Yeah.
Now they're 10 or 11 years old and they tell you, this has changed my kid's life so much. I want to thank you so much. That's the impact that I want.
Yeah.
I want parents to be able to come to me and say that this has changed my kid's life for the better. And then for a kid to come back to me in 15 or 20 years and be like, listen, I got the job of my dreams and I was able to get into college all because of all the things that you taught me to be as a martial artist. And this is the kind of thing I disagree with Keenan on about the speech after class. Man, some of the best lessons I ever got in my life were when I was younger and getting speech after class from my martial arts instructor. Hands down, literally changed my life. Like gave me something that nobody else could give me at that time.
Perspective.
You have no idea the speech that you're giving at that time, what that person has never heard in their life. They may never hear a positive thing for 20 years. And that class and that positive message reaches that person so deep that it's able to change their life.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
You know, when I get to the adults class, you know, coach, right, she's finishing the last kids class of the day.
That's
you
my
know,
favorite.
like they're probably, what is that, 12 to 15?
Yeah.
Like 12 to 15.
My kids used to train at that gym. Yeah.
And it was talking
It's the
about
best.
something that resonated too, was like, because I know I wasn't like this. I was a different person with different people. I played a lot of sports, but then when I was with certain friends, I acted a different way. But when I was with I was a better kid when I was in sports and with a team. And then when I went and go hang out in my neighborhood, I was getting in trouble and doing stupid things. But he was talking about, I guess he had found out that one of the kids was like, was acting a certain way at like a water park. He's like, when he trains here, he's yes, sir, this, sir, no, sir. And then when he was at the park, he's cursing and talking like a thug. And he was just like, I'm going to have a talk with him because that's not, you need to be the yes, sir, no, yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm.
In the same way you are in class is what you should be everywhere. You're trying to impress people by changing who you are. So I do agree. I think those chats have a huge impact. As an adult, some of my favorite classes, we literally never rolled. My first school was run by a Marine who gave jiu-jitsu to military veterans. It was free. Give them a gi, never charge them a dime, and he met a lot of those guys in like a PTSD group that he went to. So I never served, but I was really like his first student. And as he grew and he had those guys coming, sometimes those guys would come in and they needed a talk more than they even needed the jiu-jitsu. Jiu-jitsu was important too, but I mean, literally, like I could smell alcohol. Like these guys would show up sometimes, and they weren't bad guys. They were just having problems, and they came to train. Mm-hmm. They wanted to stop drinking, and like we would sit around and be stretching, and then it's like an hour and a half later, and we haven't even done any jiu-jitsu yet. These guys telling like war stories, and a couple, guys would cry, and just those were some of the most impactful moments of jiu-jitsu, and it wasn't even doing jiu-jitsu. So I can imagine for a kid who's lost his way or maybe doesn't have both parents, those conversations really, really go far.
Bad environment.
And they really, truly resonate. Like there are some kids that need that. Like they need somebody to kind of point them in the right direction. And a lot of times it's happening in those conversations at the end of class.
And
dude, it's adults too.
Yeah.
I had an adult come up to me after class. I gave a speech on like just doing your best. I was like, guys, I don't care if you win the round or not. You do your best for the day. And your best every single day is different.
Yeah.
So don't be hard on yourself. Don't let your ego tell you that you're a piece of shit. Have fun and train your best. And this guy came up to me after class and he was crying. He was like, I want to tell you how much this means to me right now. He goes, I've been going through a really hard time and I didn't know where I was going to hear that message. He goes, I really want to thank you for that. So you never know.
Every single person who's listening to, whether you're a kid or you're an adult, just remember when you're training X amount of days a week, just think about the person that's sitting on the couch playing video games. Again, Dorito chips all over the shirt, never getting on the mat, not going to the gym. Think about how much better than him you're doing, right? So, you don't want to compare, like, I get beat up on the mat. You're doing way better than the guy that's never going to step on the mat. So you have a leg up on just about everybody out there. Like sometimes I think even the adults feel like if I'm not the best in the class, I had this conversation about a female who trains who hasn't been training, and a big part of it is that she's not the standout that she was when she was a lower belt, and she's getting beat up by these girls that go 5 days a week, and she's only there 2 days a week. And it's kind of like the feeling is like she's not showing up because she can't keep up with them. You should still be going because you're going to be better. You're going to be better than anybody out there on the street that tries to bother you. Yeah.
You'll just get there slower, man. You honestly, like, if you go once a week, whatever, if you go twice a week, whatever.
No, just go because eventually you will be able to go 2-3 times a week again.
You can't. I've had a lot of good talks with a lot of good, like brown belts and above, and it's like, they say that all the time. They're like, "Hey, man, just like sometimes
just get here."
Yeah, just get here. And then I had another one. I was asking because, like, like my own personal where I'm at right now, I feel like I've plateaued and I feel like I'm like kind of scramble brained at the moment. And I've been through this before at a different level, so like I mentally know how to kind of get past that. But it's good to ask for advice from people. Yeah. And I've gotten the advice like, "Hey, man, 1 week, like no matter what you're doing, do what the teacher tells you. But then when it comes to live roll, just do that at almost at a drilling speed. Like if you fail, you fail, but just like really just like focus on the mechanic of that. And then like week 2, do this. Week 3, do this. Week 4, you go ahead and like when you guys do your sparring session and then see what, like how you progress, like really just focus on
Charlie,
stuff
I'm sure you have people come to you like that. What's the conversation like with somebody who says, I feel like I'm not getting any better. I feel like I've plateaued, a child or an adult, or, how do you handle that?
I want to say before I answer that question that when I give a speech or I give like a talk after class, I let people know like I'm not perfect. I've made plenty of mistakes. Just because I have a black belt doesn't mean I know everything. I'm just speaking from my experience as a human being. And when I can tell my students that like I'm talking to you as a human being and not as this guy standing on a soapbox and being like, I'm a black belt, I know everything, which I don't know everything. I'm just a normal guy like everybody else. I just happen to have a school, and I'm giving you my life experience on things that I've, went through. Is that if people come up to me and they've been having a hard time, I just kind of like, I ask more questions than give more advice. So I'll be like, well, what's hard about it? And usually I find out through more than one question. Sometimes it's deeper than just what's going on at jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, that's usually what's going on. So if they're like, yeah, I've been really sucking lately and I'm not doing well. And I'm like, yeah, like, so tell me some more about that. And they're like, I can't hit anything. And I feel like I'm not doing good. And maybe I need to do this. Maybe I need to do that. I said, maybe you do. I don't know. Like, how many days a week you come in? And they're like 2 or 3. And I'm like, okay, well, like, what are you doing outside the gym? They're like, I'm just going to work and then I come here. I'm like, okay. And I was like, wait, you're like a hermit. You're not like leave your house. Do you go anywhere? Do you do anything? And sometimes I'll dig a little bit deeper and I'll find out like this guy or girl doesn't even like have a life outside of jiu-jitsu in their house. Like maybe they need a social life. Maybe they're not doing well because they're so worried about performing well at their job and jiu-jitsu that they forget how to be a real person. And that, it's not speaking to another part of their body where like if they had some fun doing something else, it might relax them a little bit and be able to open their mind a little bit more to relax at jiu-jitsu and do even better. And that's kind of like my un-jiu-jitsu answer. Like I think that answers to questions are not just jiu-jitsu. So I dig a little bit deeper and just kind of figure out, all right, what is it?
You mean jiu-jitsu doesn't fix everything? I thought jiu-jitsu fixed everything. That's what Miguel tells me. Miguel tells me.
No, what are you talking about? The guy went to jiu-jitsu and asked these questions, and instead of preaching, he's troubleshooting. So technically jiu-jitsu is so facto.
Jiu-jitsu still helps.
I'm just saying. But that's good. You're not preaching. You're troubleshooting at that point.
I'm gonna let Miguel do the honors and ask you the very last question.
Oh yeah, this one's super important. Okay. Do you or do you not wash your jiu-jitsu belt?
I do, but just not very often.
All right.
Did you always wash it?
Yes. And now because I have a school, I just leave the black belt there, and then once in a while I bring it home and wash it.
Do you teach your students like wash your gi in your belt?
Yeah, hygiene, bro.
Yeah.
Were you ever part of that world where they said, no, I don't wash my belt. It's, not that the power's in the belt. I guess it kind of said that, but
that's one.
No, you don't wash your belt. You don't. No, you have the blood of your opponents in that in that belt. No, never part of that. Good.
So Rick and Phil grew up with the Gracies. They live with Helson Gracie. They lived in California at the Gracie Academy. They've lived in Brazil with all the different Gracies, Shanji, all these guys, all the OGs of jiu-jitsu. They grew up in that era. And all of the stuff that we do now in jiu-jitsu, I've never heard of it or was brought up in it. We don't say os. Nobody gets smacked in the back with belts when we get promoted. People watch their belts. What's other like things that like I hear?
I did all of those things this week.
Oh, all the stripes.
My
the
buddy
stripes
got
on your
promoted.
belt. Like you need certain stripes on your belt in order to get your next belt. Like you have to like I do.
There were no stripes. You didn't do stripes. They didn't do stripes.
I did stripes, but it was like random, and I would go from belt to belt. I could have like 2 stripes, and then I'd wait like 4 years, and then I'd get the next belt, and I wouldn't get the stripes. So
I have a conspiracy theory. Do you think that coaches give out stripes when whole class morale is down, so they use it with a sporadic stripe to like maybe bring up the morale of like maybe certain individuals in the class?
I hope they're not doing that, but I guess it could happen.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, yes, but I think there's a good reason for it.
Yeah,
because some people may need that morale in order to keep going,
validation
themselves, because they're ready to quit on themselves, and that they'll be able to grow into that stripe.
Sympathy stripe.
I'm a fan of stripes. I think that every school should be doing it. If you're in a no-gi place and there's you're getting your belt handed to you because it's a no-gi situation. I understand that's a little different. I don't think I've ever seen like a no-gi gym. I've never seen a video of a no-gi gym doing a promotion where they're putting like.
What are you talking about? Like Henzo's.
Not stripes.
Oh, not stripes. No, they just give him a belt.
Yeah, they just give him a belt, but like there's never stripes, right?
Slimy, sweaty
So
bodies.
I'm a fan of it. I think for adults and kids, I know it's motivated me. And it's also a little bit of a reminder of like, hey, keep on working hard because you're going to get one more, and keep on working hard because then this belt is after that. And it's not about the belt, but it's about feeling progression and feeling. Look, 9 years into something, I think it's obvious I'm dedicated to it, but it's nice to get that little bit of recognition.
Validation's nice. Validation's nice.
Little bit validation. Yeah, validation, recognition, and
but what if you get a sympathy stripe?
We're a little bit more like scheduled of like, hey, there's going to be promotions around this time, and if you're due, you're due. So it's kind of like there's never like.
I'm just saying, there's so many people.
April, there's a like an odd time. It's just like what a promotion.
I just feel like I have a broader sense of jiu-jitsu, like because it's like, there's crap jiu-jitsu out there, and there's people. There's like bad. There's really good instructors. There's people who shouldn't ever be instructors. There's just it's so big. It's so big. Like there's not even America. There's other countries that have jiu-jitsu and they're teaching it. In different languages,
guys,
and it's just like so. I just like really like to gander on the psychology of since we started this show, the psychology of the gym owner.
Yeah,
like to me, some of the most fun conversations like this is I like the insight.
Of course,
questions.
Yeah.
Because it's like I think if you're just like if you're a club black belt, like I think that's cool. You know what I'm saying? I'm probably gonna be a club black belt for sure if I get there. If I don't die, and. But
come on, man, think positive here.
I said if I don't die, that means I'm not gonna quit. And they know I'm not a quitter, and they'll give it to me post-mortem. I guarantee it with 3 stripes. And
here we give him his black belt in his coffin.
With 3, he said with 3 stripes.
3 stripes.
Third degree black belt when he died.
That's right. And but anywho, it's the psychology of a gym owner to me is super interesting.
It's still a business. It's still a business.
It's still a business. So I just think like, do you use maybe stripes as a psychological ploy to get this person? Like they deserve it. Obviously.
I know my school it doesn't do it because my professor does not give adult stripes.
Yeah.
We had a coach come in for a while.
Yeah.
And he gave stripes, so we had stripes. So I don't even know that I'll get like now that coach is not there anymore. So I don't know that.
Can you carry that?
What's that?
Like, can you carry it? Like, if I leave a gym as a 1-stripe, whatever belt, do I go to the other gym as a 1-stripe?
I showed. I went to my school with. I had just gotten promoted, and then the gym closed. We knew it was closing.
Yeah.
He gave me a stripe, and then I started going to the new school where I met you.
I want to tell you something, because this has been brought up to me a bunch of times. should you, if you get belted somewhere else, be able to carry that over to the next place?
I just think
I
yes.
want to explain why.
I would say yes.
I say yeah.
I want to explain why, and I've seen instructors do it, why they would not honor that, even if it was from a very legit lineage. And here's the reason. Listeners, pay attention to this because this is deep psychology. Okay? This is true. The Army does something where they call it beat you down to build you up. And you have more respect and more admiration for what you've done in that time with the beat you down, build you up. When you go to a different school and you hold the rank and you go for another school and they don't let you hold that rank and they demote you, it's to beat you down and build you up so you feel more valued at that new school. So it's psychological. That's why they do it. Even if it's the same association, you're belted under the same professor, under that same tree, they will do it for psychological reasons because they know that you will stay there longer with that mentality.
I wish
for me, I always honor where it was from before. So if somebody's doing this, they do it because it empowers them, and then they make you feel like you're really not worthy, but they kind of know you are because it was from the same tree. And then they'll act like they helped you get back to there under a new way.
I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it.
I think that's pretty shitty.
That's shitty.
I think that's pretty shitty. I wouldn't go to a gym that did that.
I'll get kicked out.
I would totally respect them saying, listen,
Our government
I
is
say
doing
I say
that.
this a lot, and I don't think a lot of some people disagree with me, and I think some people will.
Can't make everybody happy, Mo.
Yeah,
Just
so
let it go.
I say, I'm a 3-stripe brown belt in my school.
Mm-hmm.
If I go to another gym whose curriculum is different, whose my coach teaches a lot of Z-guard, a lot of lockdown, a lot from the bottom. All of our students win. Pull guard, armbar, pull guard, armbar, pull guard. All the kids they're a carbon
Robots.
copy of our coach, and they're good, and they're really good, and they have a good game. But it's like always the same. So I know that I'm a brown belt in my coach's jiu-jitsu. I feel comfortable saying that. I know that if I go to a 10th Planet, I'm not a freaking brown belt in 10th Planet jiu-jitsu. I would absolutely. I don't know if Rogan did it. Like Rogan, I think
He has
went.
two belts.
He
has
went,
two belts.
Yeah, he went into 10th Planet and he started as a white belt. I don't know the exact dynamics of how it happened, but I know that he wound up getting his second brown belt.
He's got a John Machado.
So in that case, I would love to do that. I would love to start over as a 10th Planet. But if I went to just another school that was kind of like mine,
that shit
and
would
they were like,
backfire,
you probably give some of those stripes back, or we're going to put you. We'll give you basically you're like a 4-stripe purple. I'd be like, go fuck yourself. I mean, it's hold me back a little bit longer.
Yeah.
No, but I would be like, I'm fine with you holding me back, but don't try to emasculate me by taking my belt to build me like what you said. I get it, and I think that's why they do it. It's a power thing. It's like let's see if he's really going to put up with this, and some guys might be like, it's not about the fucking belt. You're not taking away any of my jiu-jitsu by taking away the belt.
It more.
Yeah,
they know you'll value it more if they do that.
Yeah, it's a McDojo at that point to me.
To that point again at a lower level. When I got my second stripe, I went. My gym was closing. He did a final promotion. I had already gone to Fight Sports, where I started training, where I met Miguel. I went there, and I went to like one class before the holidays, and then they closed for like a couple of weeks for Christmas, and I didn't go back. I visited. I had the one stripe, and I said, I'm going to come here. My gym is closing. Before he closed, he gave everybody a stripe. So I went back to Felipe's to Fight Sports after the holidays, and now I had 2 stripes. And I said to him, I was like, listen, is it okay? He just gave me another stripe. He's just like, yeah, I don't care.
Yeah.
And I never got a stripe from him, and I got my purple belt. And he never gave me another stripe. Like, he didn't care about the stripes. He could give 2 shits.
Sure.
My jiu-jitsu was the same no matter what the belt was. I get what you're saying, and I guess maybe there's a place for it. I would think more of like on a competitive level. Okay, a cocky guy comes in and you're like, it's kind of like the takeaway clothes. Like, well, if you don't want to do it, you don't have to train here. And then they're like, no, I want this. I want to train with you.
You got to start all over.
I feel what you say, and I'm glad that you say, Charlie, you don't do it, but I feel like that's a little culty. Like, no. We must break you down to build you. I just wouldn't be in a place like that.
They're
But
gonna
I
do that to the wrong guy, though.
I would absolutely respect, because we talked before about there's different levels and different types of jiu-jitsu. I would love to be able to do this all over again, get my black belt, still train where I'm training, but then go to 10th Planet, go to a 10th Planet location and go, I'm a white belt, teach me what you know, because my shit is not anywhere close to what you guys do.
Yeah,
I agree with you on that. If you were switching like completely from gi to no gi, or you were going from like one big professor to
one system to another system.
Of course. I think that you could argue that. I think you could even argue it where is it competitive or not competitive. But if you're just a regular practitioner and you're going to another regular practitioner place,
no way. Yeah,
I think it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So where I
don't
see
like
it
the
happen
power play at my age. I don't like the power play.
I see it happen with kids. They do it with children. It's like if your kid was a
gray and black,
and it's not competitive, and your kid was a white gray belt at one school, and then they went to the next school and they were like, no, like your kid's not a gray. Like, dude, the kid's 7 years old.
It's gonna mess them up.
Dude, that messes kids up. You want to take their belt? Like,
you don't do that.
So I've seen a lot of places do that to kids. It's wrong, right? Like the kid's confused.
Yeah, I don't.
He's like, wait, I thought I earned this. You know, I was like,
I'm totally okay with, hold me, don't give me the next promotion until you believe that I have learned your jiu-jitsu and you believe that my skill level is up to that level. But I just couldn't, like, demoting somebody is, I think it's a power play, and I'm not into power plays. It's just like, I thought that no politics. What happened to jiu-jitsu? No politics. Jiu-jitsu's for everybody, except if your belt is from come on, like, I think it's too much. I think that's overkill. But hey, guys, Charlie, we're going to leave it there. Like I said, hang out for a second. We're going to do some pictures. Thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate it. We'll put this out in about a week. We'll probably launch within 10 days. So we have like one that's in the can that we're going to launch this week, and then this will come out soon after that. But thank you so much for doing this. I love your take on jiu-jitsu. It's we love. I think we like here. You talked about coaches before. We like hearing like the different ways that people do things. Everybody has their way. No way is wrong. I think they're all right.
No. There's no way that's right, but there's definitely a wrong.
I kind of said, they're all right. There's a whole bunch of ways to do this.
There's definitely a wrong.
All right, we're going to wind
You're
up
out there
being on here for
snatching
another
kids'
half hour.
belts.
Thank you, Charlie. We appreciate you
so much.
Thank you so
for
much.
doing this.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you to Neutral Zone CBD, a combat family-owned company that supports athletes and the people who love them. Neutral Zone strives to deliver clean CBD products for sports recovery in gummies, lotions, balms, roll-ons, and more. After a competition, a hard rolling session, or a tough day on the job, Neutral Zone has a product designed to help you reduce inflammation, increase cell rejuvenation, and may even help with aging joints. Visit NeutralZoneCBD.com and get 25% off your order with code JJD. And follow them on Instagram too, @MyNeutralZone. Jiu-Jitsu's favorite monthly subscription box has now joined the Jiu-Jitsu Dummies podcast. The BJJ box is delivered to your door filled with premium jiu-jitsu and grappling apparel, equipment, supplements, supplies, snacks, and more. The crew at the BJJ box find the best in the world of jiu-jitsu and guarantee every box to be worth more than the cost. Each box includes 4 to 7 items you're going to love. Visit thebjjbox.com and use code JJD10 to get $10 off your very first box. And give them a follow on Instagram @thebjjbox. Special thank you to the crew over at Flow and Roll for all their support. Flow and Roll is renowned for their incredible no-gi rash guards, shorts, and leggings. Flow and Roll has quickly become the premier custom apparel provider for academies big and small throughout the United States. Reach out today to discuss your custom order and ask about their incredible pre-order program. You can send an email to flowandroll@gmail.com or visit their Instagram @flow_n_roll and shoot them a direct message. And yes, they can create an awesome custom gi for your academy as well. Visit flowandroll.com to check out their awesome designs, and while you're there, pick up a Jiu-Jitsu Dummy signature tee exclusively at flowandroll.com. And remember, you'll get 20% off your purchase of t-shirts, rash guards, or gis with code JJD.
All right, very cool. What do you think?
That was awesome.
Yeah.
I already sent them the song.
You sent them that Brazilian
I
stuff?
did. Yeah, Funk to Açaí.
What is it called again?
Funk du Acai.
Funk du Acai. You gotta send it to me too. I gotta hear it. I want to know the joke.
I
too.
gotta give it up to. I got introduced to it by, you remember Jonathan Roca, and then German Herman, his brother.
Yeah.
So
what happened to Jonathan? Where is he? Is he training?
I don't think so.
No?
I think he started up a business and I think it's doing very well.
Does he do
and he's
like some of the
focusing on
boats?
like everything
He
with
washes,
boats.
like,
Yeah,
boats,
yeah, it's
repairs?
veteran-owned business.
Okay.
and,
Okay.
Yeah, he's been growing it pretty big. He actually just did a Midnight Express boat not too long ago, which is like if you know like center consoles, that's nice center console type boat. It's got
Okay.
but he's doing well. I checked up with both of them not too long ago.
But he's the one that sent it to you.
So we were going to Pans. Is when we went to Pans.
Okay.
And it was like Flo and then Orlando and then both of us, we were up there.
His brother comes in once in a while still, like on my breaks.
He lives in Alabama.
I think when he comes in when there's like holidays, right?
Now it's more like I think he's out of college now.
Okay.
So, but
All right.
yeah,
He was there for over Christmas break.
yeah. But anywhoots, his family lives down here. I
Yeah,
think he comes down for that. And but yeah, so that was a song that we just kept playing over and over, and it's just like it's catchy, man. It's like a catchy, fun
But it's
song.
dirty.
It is, yeah. But they use innocent words. But if you know like Portuguese, like not saying I'm an expert or anything, but I know the bad words,
All right. So thank you again, Charlie, for joining us. Check us out at Jiu-Jitsu Dummies on Instagram for all the ways to watch, listen, and support.
That's right.
My IG is Uncle Milty BJJ.
JJD_DJJ69.
Toothless Wonder. I mean, Bo.
BADWERKS.
Bad word.
Wait, you got the. We're waiting. The audience wants to see you with your new toothlesses.
The dentist fucked me, man. It's been a week and a half.
Usually got to pay extra for that.
Usually, but no, I got bent over and no, they're very cool. They're actually really nice, but I think the final dentures take longer to make, to fabricate.
Yeah.
So, and it might be shipped with others.
I'm excited to see you with your teeth, brother.
So,
I know
we'll
it's
see.
a long
But
time coming.
I told you I had a dream that I had my dentures.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I showed some chick in the dream my dentures, like, flipped them out of my mouth. And then I woke up. I was like, this is really bad.
My mission while you have the dentures before you get the implants is to get you to spit them out. But we need to get it either on camera, on film. We need a picture. We've got to capture them all.
I'll just record every podcast.
You're going to publicly embarrass me. I know.
No. All right, guys. Listen, thank you guys. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching and listening, everybody. Peace, love, jiu-jitsu. It's funny that he said like they never said oos back in the day.
I say it sarcastically.
Yeah, I still say like when the coach says something, I'm like oos.
I say it sarcastically.
Some people he has the kids say yes sir.
Yeah,
I go oos.
I'll like shake somebody's hand like at the end of class and I'll go os intensifies.
That's staying. That's staying in.
Like that.
All right.